And welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and with me, as always, are my co-host Blue,
aka Writer's View,
and my co-host Mike,
aka Pezman Mike,
and my co-host Christian,
aka Fulgan.
Welcome to the show. We'll have a lot of things we'd like to discuss with you. One of them being a review of Katana Zero. Christian, you reviewed that game, and I've been playing that game, so we'll talk about that game. And then actually we have an interview with Corey from Underbite Games, and I talked to him about Sentinels of Freedom, so that will be later on in the show as well. And then we have news and your listener feedback, and then our hot topic this week with the news of all the different consoles like PS5, some specs coming out for that, and the Switch with the Pro version of the Switch, I guess. I'd like to discuss, with all announcements being made with the gaming consoles, who we think are the biggest winners and losers, and specifically the feedback, I guess, on Twitch, or the reaction to Twitch on the discless system.
Good job, Roger.
Thank you. That's a hard thing to say.
It's a hard thing to say, right?
It is. So, and in fact, didn't they call it sad? Isn't that like the...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Xbox One S all digital edition. So like the joke all week has been that it's the Xbox One sad. But everybody's ignoring the E on the end.
Oh.
I think it's the Xbox One sod, as in the Marquis de Sade. As in, Microsoft are being a bunch of sadists to release this, and you have to be a masochist to buy it.
Wow.
Like, that's the joke that nobody's making.
That is like next level jokage right there.
That is.
Like, that goes beyond my level of comprehension, so bravo, Blue.
I suppose you have to know who the Marquis de Sade is before it's funny.
Yeah, I'm more like fall down and fart jokes.
Okay. Never mind then. I thought it was really funny. It
is funny. But I'm with Mike. You would have to explain that joke to me. But now I find it funny. So.
Okay, you know what? It's not it's not podcast appropriate. You can Google it later.
Okay. All right. But yeah, we'll talk about that later on in the show. But before we get into all that, we do have a hot topic, and our our icebreaker this week is what video game enemy annoys you the most, but you can handle them, but you still hate them because they're annoying.
Yes.
All right.
So, Blue, this was your icebreaker. Do you want to start us off?
Sure. I was just thinking how people always complain about the Medusa heads in Castlevania, because they have that up and down pattern, and they're like impossible and they're to beat, but they're not a boss. They're just like our average run of the mill enemy, but they're the actual worst.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking that would be fun to hear like everybody's descriptions of what enemies, just run of the mill enemies, are the actual worst. And the first one that I thought of was from Hollow Knight. You have, they shoot fireballs. What's their freaking name? Like, they fly around and then they shoot fireballs in Primal Aspid. They shoot fireballs in 4 different directions. And it's, when there's more than one of them on the screen, they just quickly just be like, they're making me crazy. To try to dodge all the fireballs and then kill them at the same time. It's crazy.
Oh.
I don't think I got that far yet.
I don't think I've got that far either.
When you do, you'll know
They
them
suck.
when you see them. They suck.
All right. What about you, Mike? What is your enemy that annoys you the most?
Yeah, so obviously, the Medusa heads are in there, but my runner-up, I got 2. My runner-up is Lakitu from Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, because he's shooting at you the whole time and he won't stand still.
He won't leave you alone. He just keeps throwing those spinies down. It's like, hey, where does he get them from? It's only one cloud.
It's bigger on the inside.
I guess, yeah. So he just keeps it. I'm just even when you manage there's like one block in the entire level in Super Mario Brothers that's like towards the top, and you actually manage to get it and jump on them and take them out, and you're like, awesome, that's great, I did something amazing. And then like 7 seconds later, oh hey, what's up? I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so annoying. So yeah, so that was always tough. He always annoyed me. And then also, I don't know if you how many of you played the original Kid Icarus, but the Grim Reaper in Kid Icarus, like if it even sees you, it absolutely flips out and sends an army of mini Grim Reapers after you, and they like fly all over. So they're really tough to shoot and take out. So I always got annoyed with them. It would take me like sometimes 5 minutes because can only get one shot. And you have to shoot it in the back. So, because if it sees you, like I said, it freaks out. But it would walk back and forth. But at times, like completely randomly, it would turn around like really quick and look the other way. So you have to be extra careful. But sometimes you just couldn't help it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So yeah, those were always tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I played Kid Icarus. I was never very good at that game either. So that's a hard game, Mike.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's
Not
hard
if you use
game.
the code.
Yeah,
That gets you all the way to
that's
the end.
true. That's true. That is true. What about you, Christian?
I really like this question because when I play video games, I kind of view enemies as either friendly or foe based on how hard it is to take them out. So if there's bad guys that are like super easy, I almost view them as like friendly NPCs because I'm like, hey, buddy, come over here. I'm here to kill ya.
Huh.
But the hard guys, I hate them. And there's been one enemy consistently throughout an entire franchise has given me an awful time ever since I was a young lad playing on my PlayStation 2, and those are the fat bandits in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
I hate
that
those things. They
fire
have giant bellies.
right up their butt.
Yes, that's the best way to do it is fire. But when I was growing up, I didn't know how
Right
to
up
do
their
magic
butts?
in Kingdom Hearts. I just like smack things with my Keyblade. But the big fat guys, you can't smack them with their Keyblade on their belly because it just bounces off and then they retaliate and then you get murdered. And that was probably the first time I died in that game. And they have killed me plenty of times since, including in Kingdom Hearts 3. And you have to hit them in the backside or use magic, and they suck because of that.
Like you're always trying to get around them to their backside, and of course
Mhm.
they're big, so you got to run a long way. And then they're just always like dump, 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 like turning around and following you and keeping you in their eyesight. And it's like, no, turn
It's the
around.
worst.
I'm trying to kill you.
Yep. And then they
Wow.
slap their bellies and come charging at you.
Yep, exactly. So yeah,
That
fireballs
is
are
pretty
the best way.
Oh man, I have to play that yet. I haven't even cracked that game open yet, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible.
I'm counting on
I'm
it.
not even surprised anymore. He won't watch Cowboy Bebop. He won't play Hollow Knight.
I know.
you
No, I play Hollow Knight. I do play Hollow Knight. I just haven't
Oh, do
in a
you?
while. I played it though. I played it.
like for an hour.
Maybe an hour and a half, Blue.
Yeah.
Oh, in that case.
For me, I would have to say my enemy that annoys me the most when I was a kid. I mean, just because I haven't played the game in a long time, I can handle him. But man, I hated Piston Honda because you'd beat him for the championship in the like minor belt or whatever the championship belt for the lightweight or minor circuit or whatever it was called. And then he comes back and you're like, wait a minute, I beat you. And he's harder the second time. Like his patterns are not quite the same. So he always annoyed me as a kid. Yeah. Although I started playing because now it's on the Switch. Punch Out is on the Switch Online or Switch Online. Yeah.
Yep.
And I was playing that and I made it past. I made it to Bald Bull right now. I haven't made it. Oh no, not Bald Bull. King Hippo, which
my
isn't
favorite.
that far. Yeah, I know. I love him too. But I mean, I'm not that far. But I haven't lost a match yet, and it was like really weird to have. It was like almost like second nature. It was like riding a bike. I remembered all the stuff. So.
Yep.
But yeah, Piston Honda. So yeah, listeners, what enemies annoy you the most? You can handle them, but you still hate them. You can let us know. You can send us a tweet, and you can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. you can go to our website at gamerheadspodcast.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, and that's facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast. All right, let's go on to the news, and I have a couple items here, and as always, if you have anything that you'd like to add, feel free to do so. The first item that I have here, I think this was really cool. Actually, our coworker, Brandon, Christian and I's coworker Brandon brought this up to us, and then I saw this online. Christian, do you want to take that first news item there?
Sure. This one was from IGN. They said that the Carolina Panthers announced an NFL season schedule with an epic video game homage. So what it was is they put together an announcement video for their upcoming schedule, and it includes references to video games. And the opening starts out with the wording schedule, but the font is the same as the iconic Sega font. So many of the references coincided with the matchups the Panthers will have throughout the 2019 season. For instance, the Week 3 matchup involves the car select screen from Cruisin' USA, with one car being the Panthers and the other being the Cardinals driving to Arizona for an away game. And Week 8 sees the Panthers in Oregon Trail traveling to San Francisco 49ers Levi Stadium in another away game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had Mortal Kombat in there, Mario Kart, Madden, Pokemon Go, GoldenEye, just to name a few.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool how they did that. Like, it felt a little disjointed though, because I was like, what is going on here? But it was pretty cool. It was cool that they were trying to tie in references like the Cruisin' USA or the Oregon Trail, like to the 49ers. I think they play against the Packers, and I think that one was the Mortal Kombat one, I think, where Aaron Rodgers was one of the other characters that they're fighting against. So,
Well, okay, but did all the teams not do this?
No,
Because
no.
didn't you guys see the Packers one?
No, I didn't. Did all the teams do this?
I kind of assume so, because the Packers announced their schedule with a video where it's Pac-Man. And so it's the Packers helmet going around munching the little pills, and then it swallows all the opponents every week. It goes, makes that sound like when you swallow the ghost. So it goes around the
That's
whole
awesome.
Pac-Man board, swallowing all the other team helmets.
Wow,
so
because there was
yeah.
a Pac-Man one in this one too, but that's awesome.
When I saw that, and then I saw the Panthers one, I just assumed that all the teams had done something video game related, but maybe not.
Maybe I'll have to look now. I'll have to look actually, because I'm not sure myself.
Well,
that'd be
I
weird.
don't know, yeah, I don't think so, because now I'm looking at the Chicago Bears Twitter feed, and I'm not seeing anything. So
Yeah, for the Bears, they just said we're going to apologize in advance for 20.
Okay, so maybe only the cool teams did it, and yeah.
Do you think this is like a way for them to try to reach out to a younger audience or something? Or, I mean,
I don't know, because there's some interesting reference here. It's like only like gamers will recognize that Cruisin' USA garage.
That's pretty obscure, yeah.
Like as soon as you mentioned that image immediately popped into my head, because that was one of my games that I got with my 64, and I played that nonstop. But that garage is ingrained in my memory, so I thought that was awesome.
yeah.
But it's like your typical gamer is not gonna recognize the Cruisin' USA garage.
Yeah.
No.
And
Pac-Man is pretty universally recognizable, though.
Yeah. In the beginning where it does say schedule, it looks like, the lettering of Sega, and then it goes, da-da, and it goes
Schedule.
It's cool. So
No Fortnite references.
No. There was a Pokemon Go reference though.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And no Minecraft references.
Yep. That's right.
Well, the Fortnite references will be on the field in the touchdown dances.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And you can play as your favorite football team in Fortnite now too, so.
Yep.
Cool. Blue, do you want to take the next one?
Sure. This is from Newsweek, and Tencent is allowed to distribute Nintendo Switch in China. The administration of Guangdong Province has given gaming company Tencent permission to distribute the Nintendo Switch console across China. According to a report by Reuters, The initial wave of Switch consoles will contain a special, quote, test version of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Games other than New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe are on the way as well. Nintendo's game library is currently going through China's lengthy video game approval process. This news is huge for Nintendo, as the country is currently the world's largest video game market, valued at $38 billion in 2018. Comparatively, the United States video game market was valued at $19 billion that same year. Nintendo stocks rose 14% in response to the Tencent collaboration announcement.
Yeah, crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, this is silly, but I didn't realize that the Switch weren't being distributed in China.
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
Really?
That's pretty crazy.
So,
Yeah.
was other consoles like the Wii or Wii U, were they, or PlayStation or Xbox, or it sounds silly, but
if they've got
know.
a $38 billion video game market, they must have something.
Yeah, you would think.
They're not all mobile games.
You would think. Well, maybe computer games are more popular in China. I don't know. Christian, you're in the knowledge of everything. What do you know?
Sure, League of Legends. I'm sure they play lots of League of Legends.
Yeah. It seems weird that this market wasn't tapped before, but
I don't know.
that's huge. That's huge. That's crazy.
Do we have any listeners from China that can explain to us?
I don't know, listeners. If you're a listener from China, let us know, because you can send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com, because I want to know. I really want to know, because it is kind of interesting. So
Yeah, I think this is the reason why Nintendo put out some of their Wii games on NVIDIA Shield TVs, I think it was, or NVIDIA Shields, in China only. So you can play like Mario Galaxy and Twilight Princess and stuff like that with regular old sticks and buttons in China only.
That's so weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, well, and yeah, that's crazy. That I guess it's not crazy, but the stock jumped quite a bit. So, but cool. That's cool. The last item that I have, Mike, do you want to take the last item?
Sure, and this comes from Nintendo Life. EA, now this, everybody just hold on to something, because this may come as a surprise.
I know.
EA has no plans at this time to bring Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order to the Switch.
What?
I know. Last week, EA and Respawn Entertainment revealed Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC this November. Not long after the game was revealed, EA community manager Jay Ingram was asked on Twitter if there were any plans for it to be released on Nintendo's hybrid device in the future. He responded by saying, "As amazing as the Switch is, no such plans." I know.
Shocking.
We're all in disbelief right now that EA is doing this.
Yeah.
But
well, when Red Dead came out, people were like, "I heard it's going to come to the Switch." I'm like, "It's not coming to the Switch. There's no way."
Oh.
I'm surprised at the games that they do have coming to the Switch, but yeah, that's not a shocker. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe when the Pro comes out?
Probably still not.
Yeah. See, that's
EA
my
and
concern.
EA and Nintendo, their relationship is pretty much gone. It was because it was they had in plans. EA Origin was supposed to come out on the Wii U, I think, and then Nintendo nixed it. So EA's like, "All right, we're done." So EA, they're not
Really?
they're not doing anything.
I
They
didn't
want
know
nothing
that.
to do with Nintendo right now.
I don't think there's any relationship, though, that enough zeros on the end of a price tag can't fix.
That's
That's
true.
true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Did you guys see the trailer for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order?
I
Yeah.
did not.
What's the temperature in the room on that?
Lukewarm.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool, but we've all been fooled by EA many times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so it's just going to be a case of we'll believe it when we see it.
Yeah.
And to that point, I think it's also funny that EA, when they announced this game, also had to point out no microtransactions or DLC. They actually had to announce that. We're at a
Yeah,
point,
isn't that
people,
funny?
where we're
Oh my God.
announcing lack of microtransactions.
Yeah, that's crazy. But
Not the
isn't
other way around.
There are trust issues here.
Yeah.
yeah. But what is Respawn known for? Are they known for
Titanfall.
more? Okay, so
And it's
they're
people who worked on Modern Warfare 2, I think, and Apex Legends.
Okay, so okay, maybe.
So there you go.
Yeah.
What
see?
worries me is that it gives me a lot of the Force Unleashed vibes. And well, I remember being like 13 years old. The first internet videos I was watching were like trailers and like tech demos for the Force Unleashed tech, and that they were throwing R2D2s at this piece of wood that would break dynamically with the R2D2. And I was so excited for that game. Like, you could not. I'm probably the most excited I've been for a game in my life. And I downloaded a demo on my PS3. It was like one level, but I played it over and over and over and over and over. I was like, I need this. And then one Christmas, my parents finally gave it to me, and I wanted to like it so much more than I did because it was very disappointing. Not very good. And this Fallen Order gives me some of those vibes, and I don't want this just to be like a Force Unleashed prequel, because that's kind of what it's looking like. It's looking like a third person, like hack and slash with your lightsaber type thing, where Respawn's known more for first person shooting, lots of movement, which I think is something that they could really incorporate in a very smart and fun way into a Star Wars game. But it looks like that might not be the case. But we haven't seen any gameplay, so I mean, I'm just, spewing smoke in your ears, out your ears.
You didn't like Force Unleashed?
I played it through like 5 times and thought it was okay.
Oh.
5
Wow.
times. It was just okay, so I played it 5 times.
That's all I had back in the day, man. It had the TIE fighters, and I could force push through the TIE fighters. I'd do that for like hours every day.
Did you play the second one too, Christian?
I did.
Yeah.
It was all right. Very short. Kind of disappointing.
I liked the premise of the first one, I guess. I liked the premise of the first one, and there was different endings in that game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was.
so that was cool.
Yep, but only one was canon because they created a sequel that just completely wrote off one of the
That's true.
endings. So
Well, in the other ending, I don't know how it could be canon because of it doesn't really fit into the Star Wars universe. So
yeah, and it was weird. It wasn't really handled extremely well because I remember like my first 3 playthroughs, I didn't even know there was a second ending. You have to you get to the final boss, and then you like jump down this one little like chasm, and then when you jump down there, that's the secondary boss fight, and that's the alternate ending.
Yeah.
Wasn't a good way of handling that, but he can pull down Star Destroyers with the Force powers. That doesn't break the Star Wars universe at all. It's fine.
Well, yeah, anything prior to 2012 doesn't count anyway. We all know
That's
that.
true. That's true.
Wiping
That's
it
true.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
never
that's
happened. Never happened.
That's true, including those movies.
Basically, if they could wipe those 2, I think they would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Does anyone have anything else that you would like to discuss?
I do.
Yeah? Go ahead, Mike.
10 more games announced for the Sega Genesis
I
Mini.
forgot. Yes. Yes, I saw that and I forgot to look. What were the games?
The games are Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse.
I know, right?
I know.
Okay.
World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck.
Okay.
Thunder Force 3. Super Fantasy Zone. Shinobi 3.
Oh.
Streets of Rage 2. Earthworm Jim.
Eh.
Sonic the
Nice.
Hedgehog 2. Contra Hardcore. And Landstalker.
Okay. Yep.
There's some good items on here.
There's some
Yeah.
impressive third-party pulls on that.
Yeah, very surprising.
Now it's like they went into my brain and said, what are the 1 games that we could include on there that would make her buy this? And that would be the World of Illusion games. Now, if they throw a quack shot on there, I'm done. I have no choice. Shut up and take my money.
And here's what makes me happy about that. Sega now has a working relationship with Disney. Does this mean Aladdin is going to come out for that?
That'd be
That'd
great.
be awesome.
Oh, if they throw Aladdin on there, that would be...
That'd be insane.
Awesome.
That's like one of the best Genesis games of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I love Aladdin, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good game. Yeah, I have the I have the Mickey Mouse ones on PlayStation 3, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
a remake.
Yeah.
Are they on 4 as well?
No, I don't think so. But they were part of
Oh.
like the PlayStation Plus at the time. That's why I got them. So
I see. I don't have them at all. I've actually never ever played them in my whole life.
Oh.
I know.
Now's
I
your
know.
chance.
I know. So
and that's not on that flashback, right?
No.
no, they're not. Most of those other that they've said are, but not
Yeah.
those ones. And so it's
Yeah.
like they listened last week and said, we're going to get her. When she said
Yeah.
she didn't want it, we're going to get her.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. But unfortunately, this also means that my super obscure beat 'em up Cyborg Justice favorite game has less of a chance of being on the system.
Oh,
Aw.
Oh.
Well, there's 10 more games
I'm
that
okay
they're
with that.
announcing yet, right?
I think they're either at least 10, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it'll be part of that announcement.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't
Anyone?
think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. There was a lot of others, like smaller news things, like the PlayStation 5. I mean, I guess that's not smaller, but I mean, I'm just like the specs, but we'll be talking about that during our hot topic. So,
Yeah.
Okay, well then let's move on to our listener feedback. So last week we played a game. We played a video game trivia game in honor of Trivia Weekend in Stevens Point. By the way, we took 72nd place out of almost 400 teams. So that's not too bad.
All right. Well done.
Yeah.
And I got a 230-point question, which means like roughly around 10 teams got that one right. And I got it right.
What was the question?
The question was, this group of superheroes, or this group of heroes, I don't think they call them superheroes, this group of heroes left a concentration, or left not a concentration camp, left a prisoner camp, or prisoner of war camp, and ended up in China where they picked up their 7th character. What was the name of their 7th character?
Oh.
And the answer is Chomp Chomp.
What?
Chop Chop? Chop Chop? Chomp Chop? Chop Chop? Chop Chop? Chop Chop. I don't know. It was a character from
Oh, a lot of
Blackhawks. I don't know. I was just looking. Well, the way I found it was comic book characters, World War II, in prison camp, ended up in China. And then this popped up, and I'm like, I don't know. This character's name is Chop Chop. That sounds right. So Chop Chop it is. And it was Chop Chop. So
Nice.
we got it right. Yeah.
Well, good
So-
work.
Yeah, that was insane. Yeah, it was crazy. It was a fun time, but it's the craziest thing. If you ever get a chance, you should play it. Anyway, so last week we played the video game trivia, and where I asked you questions, and then Blue, you reached out to our listeners and said, "Give us some questions that you can ask me." So, I may regret agreeing to this, but proceed with the questions.
Okay. Well, I only picked 6. Like the first
only
6
six. Only 6. I was
hey,
hoping
you
like
gave
2.
us 11.
That's true.
So I figured since Christian wasn't here last week, so Christian and
Ooh.
Roger
Oh,
can
God.
answer these.
Oh, man.
And then if they can't get it, then Mike can jump in.
Okay. All right. So we
You put
do our
too much
raise your
faith
hand.
in me.
What? Oh, I got to do that whole thing. Okay, hang on. Okay, I am the trivia master now.
Oh, man.
Okay,
Oh,
we'll
boy.
start you off with a softball.
Okay.
This comes to us from producer BTW. What was Mario's original name? Christian.
Oh, come on.
Jumpman.
Come on.
Way to go, Christian. It was
I
the
clicked
Jumpman.
on it before him.
That might be the only one I get though.
No,
Roger.
I saw your Hague before me, so.
Okay, the next one comes from Norin Rad the Third.
Ooh.
This one is, good luck with this. Okay, so what is the secret message on Digital Pictures Sega CD games? Roger.
Oh.
Sega. I don't know. I have no idea.
No, this one's really hard. I would have
Thanks
no
for
idea.
playing.
Nope.
I have no
It's
idea.
the hint is if you put the game disc into a CD player and
Oh, okay.
play it. There's an audio message.
That's cool.
Sega does what Nintendo don't.
No, okay. If you play track 2, you can hear a phone ring followed by hello, digital pictures, and a bizarre message repeated 3 times. If you play that message backwards, it says number 9, number
Oh,
9,
that's cute.
number 9, which
That's
of
What's that
course
from?
comes from
Oh,
yes,
okay.
the Beatles' White Album.
Oh.
There's layers here. Many
There's a
layers.
lot of layers.
There's a
there.
lot of
Holy
layers.
cow.
There's a lot to unpack with that one.
Yeah, there is. Okay. So
Wow, that
the
was hard.
third question from Retro Game Brews.
Okay.
Sega is a portmanteau of what 2 words? Nothing? No? Nobody?
No.
Christian?
I got
Christian?
nothing.
I don't
don't know.
No? Nothing? Okay. Service games.
Oh, I was going to say
Service
games.
games?
I knew GA was probably
Sega.
games.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Service.
Service games.
Games as a service.
Yeah,
They were
games as
ahead.
a-
They were
Yeah,
ahead.
they
that-
were.
How does that sound using the Sega like chime music?
Service games.
Beautiful. Roger gets the
There
point.
you go. All right.
Well, okay, good job. Good job. Question 4 from the great Saiyaman81. What can Yoshi eat in the Japanese version of Super Mario World, but he cannot eat it in any other international version? Roger.
Cookies.
No.
Oh.
Sounds so disappointed. No.
It's something that's in the game of every version, but
Yeah.
only in the Japanese version can he eat it.
The football player?
No. Good guess, though.
Is it a Wiggler?
Turtles.
No.
Bowser.
Mario.
No.
Himself.
Mario would be fun.
Himself.
It's the dolphins.
The Dolphins, huh?
Oh, the dolphins.
Okay.
Okay. So
That's weird.
Yeah.
But
Christian
actually kinda makes
has
sense.
1 point, and everyone else is, well, good effort. Good teammates. Question 5. This comes to us from Cliff Mars. Why did Nobuo Uematsu
Oh my
contribute to Chrono Trigger?
I have no idea.
Because he loved Final Fantasy?
No.
Because he liked Dragon Ball.
No.
Oh, man.
No. I'll just go ahead and say it and end everybody's misery here. Uematsu signed on to finish the Chrono Trigger soundtrack after his friend and fellow composer Yasunori Mitsuda contracted stomach ulcers due to working
Oh.
so hard on the game's soundtrack.
Oh my god. That sounds terrible.
Yeah. So Uematsu stepped in to finish it.
Jeez.
Okay. I did
Gotta
not know
work
that.
hard to develop stomach ulcers.
Well,
not
Iwata-
really.
or not Iwata, I'm sorry. Who's the guy that does Smash? Who's the producer
yeah.
on Smash? He had to have an IV hooked up during
Yeah,
Smash
that's true.
Ultimate.
That's true.
Is it Sakurai? Masahiro
Sakurai,
Sakurai?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he looked pretty painful too when he was talking about the game. He's like, "This game almost killed me."
Jeez.
Yeah, so he is not interested in hearing your complaints about Waluigi.
That's right. That's right.
He's not hearing it.
That's right.
Okay, last question.
This is it. This
This
is for the
w-
whole game.
This would be double or nothing here, and
Oh, man.
somebody has got to get this one.
Okay.
This comes to us from Retro PAT 78. In Rampage, the 1986 arcade game, who are the 3 characters you can choose from?
Oh,
Roger.
Oh shoot. Lizzie, Ralph, and George.
Yeah, well
good one.
done, well done, Roger.
Jesus.
Woo!
You-
I win! I
You
won!
win. You're taking
I
away
won!
the invisible trophy.
Oh yeah. See, I knew it. I'm undefeated. Undefeated champion. That's right, Christian. I beat you at trivia.
You did, Roger.
Bonus question for Rampage: Who was the
Oh,
fourth?
boy.
Who was the 4th character that ended up getting nixed at the last minute? Playable character. What kind of animal was it?
What kind of animal was it?
Yeah, because George is a gorilla, Lizzie's
Yeah.
a lizard, and yeah.
Ralph was a rat.
No, Ralph was the wolf.
Oh, wolf. Then a rat. I would guess a rat.
Then you are correct. It was a rat.
Oh my gosh, I win again!
Jeez.
Careful, he's getting a big head now.
Where's the song? We are the champions, my friends. Dun, dun. Okay, anyway. So, cool. Thanks for the
Anyway.
feedback, everybody. Am I going to get in trouble for that little clip of music?
I
That's right.
don't think so. It's,
Yeah, that's right. I'd be more embarrassed about service game.
So, but thank you everybody for the feedback. That was fun. I didn't look up any of the answers either, so just so you know, I did not do any research before I played this trivia game. Otherwise, I would have gotten them all right. So
yeah, I think our performance doesn't leave any question about that.
yeah, that's true. All right. So yeah, listeners, if you want to give us feedback, you can always give us feedback. You can send us a tweet. And Christian, what's our Twitter?
At GamerHeads PC.
You can send us an email at
info@gamerheadspodcast.com.
and you can go to our website
gamerheadspodcast.com.
and then our Facebook page.
facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast.
Yeah. So let's move on then to our push select game review section. So this week, Christian, you were playing Katana Zero
Yep.
and reviewed Katana Zero.
Yes, I did.
So tell us about Katana Zero.
Sure. Katana Zero is Hotline Miami as a side scroller. Who here has played Hotline Miami?
I have.
You have? Okay, awesome.
No.
Mike?
I gotta go.
Okay.
Be proud of your failure. Stand up and say it.
I played Retro City Rampage. That's kind of a hotline.
Okay.
That kind of is, and kind of, but actually, no game you kind of played that is kind of like Hotline Miami is that cowboy one.
Oh, okay. 12 is better than 6.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, that one.
Gotcha.
Yes. I like Hotline Miami a lot. It was like part of the indie resurgence in 2012. It was like just very idiosyncratic for the time, especially. There was like nothing else like it. Really psychedelic, hazy visuals combined with an incredible soundtrack. Very bloody, very visceral. You guys know I'm into that stuff. I'm into very difficult games that I can bash my head against. Hotline Miami definitely fit the bill as far as that was concerned. And Katana Zero is very similar in terms of tone, in terms of sensibilities. It's 80s, which also was Hotline Miami. It had lots of VHS stuff going on because that's hot right now. You got to have 80s and VHSs. That sells these days. So they fit the bill as far as that was concerned. But it's got this more neo-noir vibe going on. So there's lots of like techno, pulsing techno music, very like hazy. You live in like this slum apartment with like days old pizza sitting on the ground and, you know, dirty clothes everywhere. And you turn on your TV and fall asleep on your couch every night. So you play as this ninja dude. His name's Zero. But it's like living in the 80s, so he's running around with the samurai sword trying to kill people with guns. And he does like the Naruto ninja run, which is something that was like a pet peeve of mine. I don't know why, but I just didn't like his run at all. He does like this doofy arms behind his back run, and it really took me out of it sometimes. But anyway, so yeah, you just run around left and right, you slash dudes, you get to the end of the level, and then you win. You got a dodge that you can do to dodge their bullets. Everyone dies in one hit, and so do you. So if you don't finish the level right away, you got to restart. Pretty simple.
I have been hearing good things about this game.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just that people say it's awesome and super fun.
Christian?
Yeah,
is it
I
super
think-
fun?
It is,
Okay.
yeah. Gameplay is fantastic. Really like the gameplay because it's fast, it's visceral, it's very satisfying, very smooth. The animation work is all great. And just like bursting through those levels, slashing through people, watching their blood splatter across the walls. And then you can slow down time in order to like time a bullet ricochet with your sword so that you can just basically feel like an invincible warrior just mowing through these guys with nothing but your sword, and it feels great. You can also throw stuff at people and watch them explode. Really good. Combat was fantastic pretty much all around. There's some stealth sections that I wasn't vibing with. So there's I think there's only like 2 of them, which is nice because they are very slow. So this game's supposed to be fast. You're supposed to be dashing through guys, slashing them up, getting to the end. But in the stealth sections, you don't want to be seen. And so what you have to do is like find little spots where the guys can't see you with their cones of vision, and then you just sit there and wait. And then you wait for them to walk by. You just wait, waiting for them. And then they walk by, and then you can finally go. But sometimes you have to be careful because they can't hear you either. You don't want them to hear you because then they're going to start coming running. So you got to hold down the walk button too, so that you walk very slowly away from them towards the exit so that you can get through the stealth section in one piece. So stealth could have been handled better. They could have just not even had stealth in there anyways, to be honest, because I felt like that was probably the weakest aspect of it gameplay.
I actually really liked the stealth part. In you're talking about the disco level?
Yes, the disco level, not so bad. There's a second one that you just got to, Roger. Egregious.
Okay.
Awful.
That's
terrible.
Is the prison.
Thankfully, stealth
prison?
was
okay.
Yes. Stealth was optional in that second section, but still wasn't vibing with it. It's too much waiting.
I think so. I just started playing, Mark of the Ninja. So there's a lot of that in that game. A lot of waiting for the The thing that threw me off was after a guy walked by, I tried to sneak up behind him and kill him, and I couldn't. This made me start over. I'm like, what? And then I realized, I can't kill these guys. So
yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. But yeah, I think overall the gameplay is fantastic. I mean, most of it, the vast majority of it is fast. It's killing dudes. It's dodging bullets. It's jumping off walls. It looks great. It feels great. It plays great. And it's got a very good challenge to it where, any one person can take you down with one bullet. But there's usually an easier path through the level that you find. Usually you can jump up a couple walls and then you'll end up in a section where you can take on guys 1 or 2 at a time instead of 5 at a time and instantly die. So the difficulty strikes the right balance. But this game is very heavily story driven, which is interesting. It's a lot like Hotline Miami in that respect. A lot of the game, just the time through a single playthrough, those 6 hours, probably 4 or 3 of it is largely going to be reading through dialogue and making dialogue choices. So you can make dialogue choices here, and there's a dialogue system for that. So someone talks to you, and then you get a list of options at the bottom of your screen. But as soon as they say something, or while they're talking, you'll get this little option, this red option. And if you click on that, you'll interrupt what they're saying, and then you'll immediately say something over them, basically. You'll interrupt them and say something. And they kind of touted this as a revolutionary dialogue feature, but largely it doesn't really do much. I mean, you can interrupt people, and there's one gameplay section in particular where you just you die over and over until you pick the right dialogue choices, and you have to keep retrying until you pick the right ones, and some of them are the interrupt options. But otherwise, it's just an in-lore way to skip dialogue, which I was kind of disappointed by. And there being multiple dialogue options, obviously you can approach things different ways. There's different ways you can do things. And so after I did my first playthrough, I kind of made mental note. I was like, okay, I could do something different here, 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 and here. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I played through it a second time, making just the complete polar opposite choices. And my first time through, I didn't do any of those interrupts. The second time I did all interrupts, and the game pretty much played out largely the same. There were very specific sections where there's a little different flavor going on, but still the gameplay sections were all pretty much identical, which was kind of disappointing because it's a game that builds itself up a lot on that choice mechanic when it really didn't factor into the actual game all that much.
So was it that, so I think that was probably my biggest question to you because I'm playing through it now too, and we were talking about that, and I asked about, did you make this decision? Did you make this decision at, answering certain things? And so that seems like the dialogue changes, but the story is the same. Is that right?
Yep. That's pretty much, you pretty much got it.
And that's too bad. Cause really, cause there's some parts where I don't want to give too much away because I think people, I do think this is a game that if you own a Switch, you should probably play it. Cause it's good. I do like it a lot. I think I think it's a good game on the Switch because you can play through a level pretty quickly, and that's so that's what I really liked about it, especially in the handheld mode. I really like that. But there was there were some parts where like I was hoping that the dialogue would have driven the story a certain way, and it doesn't seem to do that. There's one in particular where well, I don't think this gives too much away, but they tell you not to talk to somebody, and you have the option to talk to them, but it doesn't seem to really change the story, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah. But there's a single plot line that they're getting through. There's a single narrative through line that they want to hit, because the game does an excellent job at like establishing mysteries. Your characters, he's got amnesia, big surprise in a video game, but it's handled really well here. It does a great job at kind of ushering you into this very seedy, gross, disgusting world in a really good way. And there's a lot of like drug stuff going on. It feels disgusting playing it, and I like that a lot. Like that's something that you don't get out of a lot of video games. Hotline Miami was similar in that respect. So they set up a lot of these very great mysteries, and they kind of start playing out. And a lot of the dialogue in here can be frustrating because it's a lot like Hotline Miami, where the characters talk very vaguely, and they don't really talk like human beings, because it's like everyone starts a conversation in the middle of a conversation. And so people are like saying things with full of pronouns and not referring to any specifics whatsoever. And it's like, okay, I'm sure you're talking about something that I should know about. Like it makes you curious as to what they might actually be talking about. And the difference between Katana Zero and Hotline Miami is that Hotline Miami never really got to what all these pronouns meant. And so you're just kind of sitting there being like, whoa, this is weird. It kind of made you disoriented by the time you got to the end. And Katana Zero ties everything up in a neat little bow. And it feels the need to do so extensively that they sit there and like have exposition dialogue sitting there explaining everything to you, which I felt was largely unneeded. And that was kind of like the last portion, the last act of the story was a lot of people sitting down and explaining things to you. And I felt like they didn't have to spoon feed it to you that way. But the story also goes to some awesome places. There's some great surprises in there that are a lot of fun to see. And the game plays a lot with its own mechanics and its own dialogue system to very interesting effect.
Yeah. And one thing that we both agreed on too is the music's fantastic in this game.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Like, usually I'll go on YouTube and look up video game soundtracks, and Katana Zero, I can only find like 3 songs for it. And they're not like actual level music, I don't think. Like they're like the more laid back atmospheric tracks, but like the actual gameplay stuff is like pulsing, it's upbeat, it's like in your face, and I love that. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. I one thing that I read from your article, and I read a couple articles on this, and I read your review as well. And one thing that I think I took away from yours that I almost didn't get this game, but then I read it in yours where all the other articles were saying this is a really hard game. It's pretty difficult. It's it's brutal in some parts, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I want to play this game. And then you said that yes, it's difficult, but for newcomers or people that are like kind of new to this kind of genre or whatever, it's still accessible to everybody. And I 100% agree with that, because I do feel like it's a puzzle game, because once you figure out like the puzzle of like what you're supposed to do at a certain area, you can make it past that part. The one thing that I think we both agree on is that when you die, you're sent all the way back to the beginning of that level, and that stinks.
Yeah, you have to get it right that one time, otherwise you're gonna get sent back. And there's some sections where there's like some very light platforming, but if you like miss a jump, like you defeat a bunch of dudes, and then if you just miss that jump, then you got to restart all over, fight all the dudes again. That could be a little frustrating, but I figured it was part of the game. I didn't hold that against it.
Except
I was
for that
fine
one
with
cheap
that.
death, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of cheap deaths in there, but it was fine. There's some fun boss battles in there too.
But yeah, the story is really fantastic. It's very, like you said, very like gritty and very dark. I really like it a lot. Yeah. So what was your What was your final score on this game?
I gave it a 73. I had a lot of fun with the gameplay for the most part, but I had a lot of flaws with it, and I felt like a lot of what it did well was already things that Hotline Miami did very well, and Hotline Miami had fewer flaws too. So it was kind of hard for me to, raise it up on my shoulders as like the pinnacle of Switch video gaming in the current era. But if you haven't played Hotline Miami, absolutely give it a shot. It's a great time.
And where can you read your review?
That's on newgamenetwork.com.
Yeah, so thanks, Christian. All right, let's go into what everybody else is playing. So, Blue, why don't you start us off? What are you currently playing?
I played 2 games this week, and it was an interesting week. I didn't realize the 2 games I've played, they actually kind of work well together. But the first one that I played was, we've been calling it Gris, but as Valcav, our friend Just Valcav from Twitter, pointed out that it's actually called Gris, the French word for gray. So I've been playing that, and if anybody who doesn't know about the game, it's basically, I think that you start out as a woman who has gone through something terrible and she's lost her voice. And so you embark on this platforming journey to help her recover the colors in her world and her voice, because the game starts out black and white or, gray. And as you progress, you uncover more of the story. So I was playing that, and the game has gotten a lot of acclaim for how beautiful it is, for all the crazy artwork. And when you get the colors back, everything has this kind of watercolor look to it. Mm-hmm. And you recover the colors one at a time. I think you get red first, and then you get green, and then you get blue. And so every time you recover another color, the effect on the look of the game is really, really dramatic. Just Valcav did a review of it actually for our site that you can go check out if you are interested in, and he very much connected with the emotional journey of the character, and he has been on me on Twitter to hurry up and play this game. Like every week he's like, do you play it yet? Do you play it yet? So I finally had to try it, and I feel kind of bad. But honestly, I'm bored to tears with it.
Interesting.
I am. I know I feel so bad, but to me, this is not a video game. It's interactive art. You walk through these long sections where you just walk, and the path and the background changes behind you, and it's beautiful. The art in this game is like A++. No complaints there, but there's nothing to do as a game. You just kind of walk and you watch. And every once in a while, you'll come to a part where you have to solve a very, very light platforming challenge, which you might have to jump to a few sections or whatever. Or you also acquire an ability where you turn into a heavy box, and so you can break through some stuff on the floor, or if there's a wind, you can anchor yourself in place. But for the most part, you just walk. And the game does its thing, and every once in a while you jump. And so, I think the purpose of the game is to go through the 7 stages of grief. And, I don't know where it ends up at the end, but, I think very much interactive art. And if that is something that resonates emotionally with you, which what I've heard from people who like the game is that they said, it was so meaningful to me. I was feeling things I didn't even know I could feel. I was bawling at the end. I love this game. And I was like, but I haven't heard anybody say they like it as a game. They like it as an emotional journey, but not as a game. So that's kind of where I am with it.
Is there a story underpinning everything?
There is a story. There's no dialogue, but
that's interesting.
Yeah, so you're just kind of guessing, I guess, what this woman has been through, and
okay,
and,
like very visual, like the levels manifest like her emotions or inner being or something?
I don't know. They seemed more
Okay.
connected with the colors than with an inner being. Like
Okay.
when you get red, you're in a red desert, and when you get green, you go to this jungle area, and then when you get blue, you go to this water area. And so I don't know if you could draw parallels to that. Maybe some people can about what that means in her emotional journey, those particular landscapes. But I really just like, it makes sense with the color. So,
have you played the game Journey, Blue?
I have not. I've heard a lot about it.
Well,
Sorry,
and
I interrupted.
I've heard it's similar.
yeah.
That it's an emotional journey more so than a video game.
Because when you're
And so perhaps if I adjust my expectations and go into it, that'll be different.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you for bringing that up. I honestly, when you were mentioning that and you were talking about this, and I'm like, boy, this sounds a lot like my experience with
mine
Journey.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's saying Journey's amazing. Oh, it's a work of art. It's the greatest. I'm playing. I'm like, this game's a piece of crap.
That's not okay. That wasn't my
my.
reaction, but okay, yeah, sure.
I did not like Journey. I'm sorry, but it was one of those things where I fell victim to the hype. I'm like, oh, everybody says it's amazing. Let me give it a try. And I'm like, I'm floating along the desert.
Yeah, okay, but here's a good test, Roger. Did you connect with the game emotionally?
In Journey?
Yes.
I don't think I did.
Or were you just dazzled by the gameplay?
I wasn't dazzled by. I mean, certainly the game. Like Mike said, there's not much, and it probably sounds the same with this Gree game. I mean, there wasn't much in line of like gameplay, but I think the cool thing was that you're going through this journey, and it's cool. Like, you don't know why you're going through this journey actually. Well, I guess you're going to like this mountain, I guess. But Mike, hold on. There's other characters you run into, and you communicate through beeps and bleeps and things, and it's kind of cool. That was kind of cool.
I don't even know what they're
Well,
saying.
yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, one person came up to me and was like, bloop, 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 and I was like, okay, and then they like wanted me to follow them, and I followed them, and they helped me on my journey, and it was cool. I mean, I wouldn't say like, I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm crying at the end of this, like, I can't believe like what happened to me. Like, then I didn't come on the other end and had an epiphany of like what life means or anything, but I mean, it was cool. I mean, it wasn't like. I won't do it again, I guess. That's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a game that I would ever play again, so I don't know. But I wasn't emotionally attached to it.
Yeah. So.
But do you think that this game though, like, because it sounds like if you went through something like, I don't know, like, do you think this is something like if you went through something like traumatic in your life, like?
I don't know. Maybe the fact that there's no story presented to you.
Yeah.
You just see this woman and she's obviously upset. And then there's one button, I think it's X maybe. If you press it, she goes to sing and she can't. Like there's nothing comes out, and then she kind of puts her hand to her throat, and then she's sad. And so I don't know, maybe the fact that there's no story presented allows a person to project their own feelings onto it. Perhaps. So it's a what's the word I'm looking for? Catalyst, or a representation of you in there instead, perhaps. I don't know.
Do you think if you were like an opera singer that lost her voice and you had to go sing at like a concert, do you think you'd connect more to it? I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Okay.
I was actually
scraping the bottom of the barrel here, Roger.
Oh, I can go further down. Does she by any chance happen to be a mermaid?
Well, if she was, then I think she would be happy by the time we got to the ocean part. But she was still sad.
That plot sounds strangely familiar.
Wait a second. We've heard this.
Does she use a fork as a comb?
I know. Where is the singing crab?
So, well.
Yeah. So.
But it seems like, I mean, outside of games like, so I haven't played Hellblade, but it sounds like Hellblade has more like game mechanics, right? Like, but it seems like there are a handful of games that's what this is. It's supposed to be like a emotional journey, and it's not so much about the gameplay, but how you connect to the game. But it sounds like you're not making the connection. And I'm not saying that's against.
No.
I'm not saying that's against you. I'm just saying it sounds like it.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I am not usually one to make emotional connections with things anyway. I'm just kind of not that person.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, because there's so many people that can make games nowadays that you can have the definition of what is a video game, is really expanding, and maybe games like Gris and Journey need their own genre. Because to call it a platforming video game, I think is completely incorrect.
Yeah, it sounds like more like a walking simulator.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is its own genre.
Yeah. But, so, okay, well, are you going to finish it, or have you finished it?
No. I don't know if I will, honestly. Like I said, I'm super bored with it. Like, at one point, I figured out that you can press the menu button or something, and you can see all of the things you've unlocked, and there was still a long list, and I was like, oh my god, there's still so much. I was hoping I was almost done.
Oh.
Valkev, we do appreciate and respect your opinion, by the way.
Absolutely, and that's what I told him on Twitter. I was like, I'm sorry, I really, really wanted to like it. I feel like I've let you down. And he's like, I was expecting this.
Oh, wow.
So,
He also wants you to stream Bloodborne, so...
yeah, well... That's not gonna
You got
happen.
one or the other. You either get to play either Grease or
other.
Bloodborne, stream of Bloodborne. You got this one instead,
Yep.
so...
I got this one. This is the one he wanted more, so I got that one done.
Nice. What was the other game you're playing?
The other game I played was Path to Mnemosyne.
Yeah, I saw. Well, I know you're playing that game because.
Yeah, because you're Switch stalking.
Yes, yeah, no, because I'm not Switch stalking you. It pops up saying Blue's playing this game, and I'm like, oh, cool. She's playing the game that we got for a review copy. That's the reason I know you're playing it.
Yeah, I know. I was just teasing. But did we get the copy from the publisher from Hidden Trap? Yeah. Because this on Steam, it's developed and published by the same company, which is Devilish Games.
Oh, yeah.
And then I guess they got a different publisher maybe for the platform.
Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, Path to Mnemosyne is a infinite zoom puzzle platformer. So basically, you're playing as what looks like a young girl, maybe like 8 or something like that. And you're walking on a path straight ahead, and it never stops. So it just kind of keeps zooming infinitely inward. And the first thing that happens is, well, first off, you'll turn it on, and the menu music is like so abrupt and disturbing. You're like, whoa, turn it down, God. And so then you start playing, and it's like there's this man starts talking to you, and he sounds exactly like Michael Caine to me.
Ooh.
And he tells you to calm down. You're here because you've chosen to remember.
Oh.
And so that's kind of the goal of the game is we're walking down this infinite zoom path inside the girl's mind, and we're looking for her memories, which are glowing blue orbs.
Sounds like Gris.
Yeah.
Kind of. That's right what I said. When I played these back to back, I was like, I'm seeing some parallels here. So the game is black and white, and it's kind of MC Escher-ish, because like you're going down this path, and it's like she's walking in a tube, and from time to time paths will appear on the 2 walls or on the ceiling, and so you can change perspective to where you be like walking on the wall or walking on the ceiling or whatever, but it's like space to wherever you're standing that's always down. Does that make sense? So you've got to solve these different puzzles to keep progressing down the path and get to the end. And from time to time, the man will talk to you. Like, once you solve a puzzle, you get flashes of memory, and there's disturbing things in there.
Oh.
And the guy will say, calm down, it's just a memory, it can't hurt you. And so you think that he's helping you.
Uh-oh.
And then you get a little farther in the game.
Uh-oh.
And then this woman starts talking. And she's like, he's out of the room. Don't trust him. I just need to tell you this or whatever. And so now you're not really sure what's going on.
Are you playing Katana Zero?
But
Is it scary?
No, it's not scary. I mean, the imaging, art-wise, the game is very interesting to look at. It's, like I said, it's kind of MC Escher-ish. And then you're going through her mind, and so there's like skulls, and there's giant eyeballs, and fetuses, and all this kind of stuff that you walk past.
That sounds weird.
And the music is definitely weird. It's like something is playing in reverse.
Oh.
If that makes sense.
I'm already scared.
It's not constant, fortunately. If you stop to like work on a puzzle, it kind of stops, and then it's only when you walk for a certain amount of time that it comes in. So that's good, because it would be tough to listen to that the whole time. But yeah, the puzzles kind of involved, picking paths in the platform or solving patterns, and there's clues for everything visually. If you see them, and you can solve every puzzle pretty easily if you just see the clue. And I got through the whole game in 2 hours.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Without breaking a sweat.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then it ended. I was like, what, that's it? Like, I had settled down. Like, I thought we were going to be in this for the long haul. Like, I was going to be sweating and, like, questioning myself and, like, racking my brain, to its fullest potential, and then thinking, I need to look online for the answers. No, you don't. You can do it, that kind of inner dialogue. And no, it was just over in a flash. And,
wow.
And none of it was that difficult.
Oh.
So I was like, okay.
Oh. Was it an emotional journey for you?
It was not an emotional journey, but I will also say that when you get to the end, you won't understand anything.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. But it has more gameplay than Greed did, right? A little bit?
Well, I don't know. I played Gree for I think 3 hours. So if you condensed the actual platforming sections of Gree down, I don't know if you'll get 2 hours or not.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. It does seem like a very parallel kind of games. That's weird.
Yeah. So I played it on the Switch, where it's selling for $9.99. I have a tough time recommending it for that price, considering it was not very challenging and not very long.
Kind of short.
Yeah. And even at the end, you didn't. Is there multiple endings to this game, or is it just really only one ending?
I think there was, because I did cheat a little bit, because I got to the end and I was like, what the heck? Is that it? That makes no sense. I don't even know what I'm seeing. I was like, can that be the end? And so then I went online and I was looking at the end, and it looks to me like if you played it on Steam, because it's been out for a year or two already on Steam, that if you don't solve all the puzzles and get all the memories, you get to the end and you can't actually finish. You can just die, and there's nothing you can do.
You can't go back?
You have to start over.
Wow.
Ooh.
Well, the puzzles aren't hard, so it's not going to cost you anything, really.
But you can just go over the puzzles? You can just skip them?
See, that's the weird thing, is that, because I got all the way to what is, as far as I can tell, is the true ending, but there's gates that in each section, if you don't collect enough memories, the gate won't open. So I don't know how you get to the end and not be able to get the true ending, unless they just change stuff for the console release.
Maybe. Interesting.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Huh.
But the ending is weird and whatever.
Huh. Yeah, it looked interesting, but like
it is interesting. I just wish it was longer and a little more challenge to it.
Interesting. Well, cool. Thanks, Blue. What about you, Mike? What are you currently playing?
I am still playing more Spider-Man on the PS4, and I'm doing something different
What?
this time. I am getting as many of the collectibles and side stuff as possible before I even continue on with the story. And it's kind of the exact opposite of what I was doing with Red Dead
Yeah.
2. Like Red Dead 2, I just blazed through the story as fast as I could. But on Spider-Man, I'm taking my time. I'm zipping around. I'm taking in the sights. I'm, collecting my backpacks, doing all this stuff even before I get very far into the story itself. So I'm more so taking my time with this one.
There are 50 backpacks, by the
So,
way.
yes, I think
Mhm.
I'm up to 48 now.
What?
You get a
Yeah,
trophy
you
for
do.
all of them, Mike.
Woo! I got my trophies for taking pictures of all the landmarks
nice.
too.
Attaboy,
Nice.
Mike.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That was fun. That was fun. Those types of things I do like in the game. But yeah, it's weird. Like he does explain why he has all those backpacks all over town too. So,
Yeah. He spent so much money on backpacks. Now what's he gonna do with all these backpacks
Yeah.
now that he's
Right.
got
Yeah.
them? I don't know. But yeah, I normally do the opposite. Like I'll finish a game and then I'll go back and try to get all the collectibles. But now I'm kind of doing this the opposite way.
Nice.
So I
Mm.
find it odd. I am a little embarrassed to admit this, but last night I did play some Fortnite.
Oh.
Mike.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So the
You made him
kid,
feel embarrassed,
my
Christian.
son, he loves Fortnite. It's the thing the kids do now. So he plays Fortnite all the time. They've introduced a new gameplay or a new like limited time event. And I was watching him play it, and I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. I'm like, and he's like, oh, you could do duos. There's duo matches. I'm like, oh, well, you know what? I'll give it a try. So here's how this new match type works. There's instead of everybody in the island and running around, it's all done on airplanes. So you're in an airplane and your partner is standing on the wing, and you fly around the map, collecting these orbs that have the different weapons and health and stuff like that in it. And the person standing on the wing gets to use whatever gun you get, and whoever's flying the plane gets to shoot.
Oh.
As a big fan of Star Fox and Crimson Skies, that's why this fascinated me. So I'm like, oh, let's give it a try. I had an absolute blast with this mode because all I had to do was fly a plane.
Nice.
You put me in a regular match of Fortnite, I'll probably last 4 seconds before I drop off the edge of the cliff or something.
Yeah.
No, but on this one, like I was, since it's the kind of gameplay that I've done before, I'm doing barrel rolls, I'm doing quick U-turns, while my son is, blasting people away with a minigun, on the plane, and we actually won a round yesterday. We came in third place in one, and then second in another, and then we won the next match.
Like you progressively got better too.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We got, and on the one that we won, we got all between the two of us, we got 25 eliminations.
Wow.
Jeez.
I got 3 of them.
Mike helped.
Yeah, and I helped.
When you said barrel rolls, all I could hear was that guy from Star Fox. Yeah,
Peppy.
Quick, do a barrel roll.
Yep. Do a barrel. Yep, absolutely. So, but then as quickly as I'm like, okay, good, we won one round. Let's retire as champions.
We
And then,
are the champions.
Yeah. It's an encore. So I played that, and that, like I said, I had fun because I know how to control video game planes, and that was enjoyable. And then the last thing, Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yeah.
Played some more of that. I love it. That game, oh man, I keep enjoying it more and more, because don't let the art style fool you. It is not that easy. I mean, yes, technically the gameplay is easy. If you fall in a pit, you get carried back up to the edge. But if you're trying to collect everything in one go in each level, it's gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So have you got to the level where you're like climbing up the tree?
No, I did not get that far yet.
Okay, because there's these chicks that are swinging on strings, and you have to bounce on the chick's head to keep climbing up, and there's chicks throughout the whole level. Like chicks like baby birds.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and you have to bounce on their heads, and if you don't, they swing back and forth while you're trying to bounce on them. If you don't bounce exactly in the middle of their head, you just kind of get this little like bleh bounce. And
Yeah.
if you bounce right on the middle of their head, it sends you up high enough you can actually do what you're supposed to do. And I had to play that like 25 times or something to get all the way to the top of the level and get all the stuff. It was so frustrating. I was like, never want to see these little birds again.
Blue, can I?
It gets to be such a
I have to
challenge.
ask,
Go ahead, Roger.
Christian, how many times did it take you to get through that part?
I don't know. I don't even remember having a trouble with any of these chicks.
You can't compare Christian to anyone
I
else.
know, because it would have taken
Yeah,
me
it's
like
the Christian to gamer ratio.
yeah, exactly. It would have taken me like 50 times to get through that, but Christian would be like, I don't remember that. It seems pretty easy.
Yeah, it was so easy I don't even remember. So when Mike gets there, we'll ask him how many times it took him to do it, and then
See, because Blue, I think this is how I always perceive things. I feel like you're a good gauge of like what a good gamer is, right? Like a normal good gamer. And then Mike and Mike is better than me, so I'd say Mike is like better than average. I'm like below average, and then you got Christian, who is like a god.
Christian is S tier.
I wish I was.
well, that's nice. I don't know if I really am ranked quite that high.
What was your rank
or
in
should be
the
ranked quite that
Retro
high in your
Brews
mind? But
thing?
I didn't make the top 10.
Well, you're higher ranked than Mike and I bet. Right, Mike?
I think I was 12th place
Okay.
for a long time. And then
I was like unranked for a long time. I'm sorry, Mike. Didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
That's okay. Okay. But Blue, I did play through that one level where in order to get all the flowers, you have to take out 75 Monty moles.
Oh yeah.
And it's an auto scroll level. That was getting hectic for me.
Yeah, it's difficult because you can tap the A button to do the short punches, or you can hold it to do the big punches. And so you got to time the big punches right, like especially when you're jumping and everything.
Yeah. So I mean, I made it through. I needed 75. I got 76.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that I was like, oh my god, I got it. But then I needed 100. I needed 100 coins to get the flower, and I got 98.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was like, no,
Wait.
I gotta play the level over again.
Most of them you play over again.
Yeah.
Like especially if you go back to the robot thing and he sends you back, gives you 100 errands to run.
Yeah.
So if you don't get everything the first time, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So there was one more thing I played, but I'll talk about it when Roger, because Roger's going to mention it during his.
Oh.
And then last night, it was what I sort of kind of
Oh
convinced you to get.
yeah.
And then last night, right before I went to bed, and this caused me to stay up about 2 hours past my bedtime. I downloaded Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions
Me
on
too.
the Switch, which is a free-to-play card battle game. And I was pleasantly surprised by this. Like, I was having a lot of fun with it. It's it didn't take me that long. That's the problem with me, is that with these collectible card games, these trading card games, is the level or the entry, the price of admission. That's what I'm thinking of. It's sometimes they're just like so convoluted. I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie. But for this one, I was able to figure it out pretty quickly. I'm still pretty new at it, but there's like all these different challenges, and for a free-to-play game, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually looking into now the physical game now.
What? There's a physical of a free-to-play game?
There's
a card game.
There's a physical card game.
Oh, okay. I was so confused.
So yeah, there's a Games Workshop near my house, which is they specialize in trading card games. And yeah, so I'm going to look into that, see what the price of entry is on that. But I had a lot of fun playing it. Apparently, if you get the physical cards, you could actually scan them, and then the digital versions will be in your
that's kind of
deck.
cool.
Interesting.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worth the price.
Is it all PvP or is there single player?
Yeah, there's like a whole single player campaign and everything too.
Okay.
Really? And it's not one of those ones where it's just like impossibly difficult until you pony up money for the stuff they want you to buy?
No, and you get to there's like it's not like you play for like 3 weeks before you can unlock one booster pack. When I played yesterday, granted, I was just starting off, but I probably opened like 4 or 5 booster packs. There's daily missions, and there's like I said, there's the campaign. You also earn like gold and stuff by just doing regular solo plays. There's online play, and of course there's the microtransactions where you purchase gems to buy more booster packs and stuff like that. But I'm getting a kick out of it so far.
I downloaded it last night and I didn't get to play much of it. I started the tutorial, but then I fell asleep. So I'll
Well, yeah, because you sent me a message. You're like, hey, you want to play a game? I'm like, sure, which one? And you're like, oh, that card game. I'm like, all right, let me download it. And I'm playing it for like an hour. And then I texted you. I'm like, are we playing? And you're like, no.
That is not how that conversation went at all. That is not. What I said was, can you play that game, or can you play the game online? Can you play the game? I think I said, can you play the game online? I think that's what I said.
It's very important that you get this right.
I know.
Exactly
actually,
right.
I need to find. Actually, I have it right up here. Let me hold on. Give me a second here. I'm gonna pull it right up. I'm gonna pull it up because I want to make sure.
I'm gonna pull mine up too, so I can fact check you.
Okay. This is what I said. Can you play multiplayer online? That's what I asked. No. Wait. Let me take back. I said. So you said, this looks fascinating, and you sent me a picture or a link to the review for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And I said, I know, and it's free. Well, I mean, it has microtransactions. And you said, free-ish. And I said, LOL, yeah. And I said, can you play multiplayer online? And you said, what game? And I said, the card game. And you said, sure. I need to download it first, so you give me a few.
Yeah. So what we have here is the failure to communicate. When you said, can you play multiplayer online, I thought you were being friendly and asking me to play a multiplayer game online. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll play a game with you.
I was asking,
fine.
In that game, can you play multiplayer online?
Gotcha. Now that makes more sense, because I'm like, yeah, let me download it. And then you're like, oh, I'm cleaning right now. And I'm like, then why'd you ask me to play a game?
And then, so I said, oh, I'm cleaning right now. And you said, oh, you still looking to play though? And I said, not sure. If I can tonight, maybe. And then I said, oh, I was asking if the game had multiplayer, not can you play multiplayer?
So
well, I'm glad we settled that.
Yeah, really.
Listeners, that was worth your time.
All in all, it's a good game. It's a fun game if you're looking to get into a trading card game.
Yeah, no, it looks interesting for sure. Cool. Anything else, Mike?
That's it.
All right, and Christian, what have you been playing?
So I introduced my little brother to Borderlands 2. He is a big Fortnite guy, and he's been in a bit of a low spot because he has played like nothing but Fortnite for the past year and a half. He retired. He uninstalled it from his PS4, and he's like, now I have nothing to play. So I played Borderlands 2 with him, and it was my third playthrough of Borderlands 2, but it was his first. We played it through once, and we're working on our second playthrough together right now. Just to gear up for Borderlands 3. We're excited. Pretty fun time. I mean, it's Diablo as a first-person shooter. What else could you want?
I never really played Borderlands 2. I mean, I played it, but I never really gave it I never gave it the Christian go, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I gave up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's way better with other people because very mechanically simple, a lot like Diablo. I mean, you're just sitting there shooting stuff all day. But there's a good loot grind there, and if you've got a friend with you, it goes by a lot quicker, which makes it a lot more fun.
Is this not first person? I always think it's first person. Is it not first person? Oh, it is first person. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So.
But it's like Diablo in the sense that you're just, sitting there holding a button and then killing stuff so that the numbers go up.
What are you playing it on?
PS4. And they just came out with an Ultra HD texture pack to coincide with the announcement of Borderlands 3, and that makes that game look fantastic. That game looks superb on the PlayStation 4 Pro. Runs at 60 frames per second also, which is a huge
and
plus.
You can play online with people at that game? Oh.
Yes, sir. Up to 4 people cooperatively. You can also play split screen up to 4 people cooperatively.
So I could play with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to play with you. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I would if you would invite me. I'll play along. Yeah. I'll give it a shot. Because, right? I mean, it can't be that expensive, right?
I think I got it on sale a week back for $15 for the Handsome Jack collection. So that comes with Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll pick that game up. Cool. And is your brother liking it?
Yeah, he likes it because he plays a lot of Call of Duty, so he can wrap his head around first-person shooters pretty easily. And so, like, when I was playing through Far Cry New Dawn, he actually played through that as his first Far Cry game. And he's like, oh, this is cool. It's like Call of Duty, but Grand Theft Auto. And I was like, yeah, buddy, you got it. And then I was like, maybe you'll like Call of Duty, but Diablo. And it took him a little bit. There was some onboarding there with the stat trees and what leveling up does and kind of how the game works. Like, you want to keep getting better loot. I had to explain that to him, but after that, he's just off to the races. And then he's like, I'm going to be level 72 before you're even level 40. And I'm like, okay, you
is
keep
your
going.
Brother, like, first of all, how old is your brother?
He is 14 years old.
And is he like Christian 2.0? Like, is he like as hardcore as you?
S+ tier gamer.
Oh no. You see, so we game share. Okay. So every game that I buy digitally, he can also download and play. And I've got like hundreds of games on my PS4, but he'll only play like 2 or 3 of them. So those are like Call of Duty, and then now it's Borderlands. So he picks his games and then just plays them, and then he like has no interest in single player games for the most part.
So he doesn't have the trophies like you do. Okay.
No, sir. He did get the platinum in Burnout Paradise, though. I am so proud of him.
That is pretty cool. That's a good game too.
It's fantastic.
Nice. What else are you playing?
So I've been playing Dreams.
Oh, you have?
The Dreams Early Access came out. Yes. Played it for about a handful of hours.
VR?
So no, the VR aspect of it is not out yet for the early access. If you buy the early access, I think it's $30, $30 US, and then when the game actually comes out, you'll get the rest of the game for free. So there's the single player that's not out yet, and then the VR components that aren't out yet. The whole multiplayer creation, or the whole creation suite is out, and you can play other people's levels. That's all out there. And this is made by Media Molecule, who's the same devs behind Little Big Planet 1 and 2. And back in the day, I could just sit there and play Little Big Planet 1 and 2 forever. I would just sit in the level browsers, just play all of like the most played stuff, and then I just like type in random stuff into the search box and then just play whatever popped up. Because I just really, I don't know, I could just play it forever. It was a lot of fun. And what made it so impressive was that it was a 2D platformer, and they gave you tools to create 2D platforming levels. But what people did with those tools was create first-person shooters. They created top-down shooters. They created RPGs. They created shmups. It was insane because people took these 2D platformer tools and they made like entire games out of them. And that was bonkers. And so that's why I was kind of excited for Dreams, because I wanted to see what Media Molecule could do with these tools that were specifically made to make these more, fleshed out games, these like vast variety of experiences. And so I went into Dreams and I started playing some user-generated levels, played like the most played ones. So these are kind of like the ones that they put out there for you. And I was kind of underwhelmed. That was largely my fault, I feel, because, these people made like crazy stuff in Little Big Planet. And so I felt that with Dreams, they were making these tools with like first-person shooters, with like all these kinds of different types of genres in mind, and so that people would be able to make things that feel suitably polished as a result. Whereas in Little Big Planet, I could excuse some jankiness because they were making like a first-person shooter out of a 2D platformer. Like, that's mind-boggling. Here, they're making a first-person shooter out of tools that are supposed to let them make a first-person shooter, but like the gun doesn't stay in your hand, and the hit detection doesn't work right, and things are all janky and they don't feel right. And the game's been out in beta for a handful of months now, and so that's why there's created content already out there. You can still play that stuff, and it's not too bad. It just doesn't feel like it's quite dialed into like these very polished experiences. The best thing I played so far was like driving this Jeep through a bunch of environments. The Jeep didn't control right, but the environments were like dazzling to look at. Like, the game looked great, and they probably spent like hundreds of hours making like all these waterfalls and like Jeep ridden landscapes look gorgeous.
Yeah, because I remember, I mean, seeing like the landscapes and stuff that you can do in the game is really awesome, like really amazing. You know, and I always have like these delusions that I could do something like that, and then when I try, I'm like, this is really hard. So, but I feel like they did add some stuff to make it a little bit easier, where you can just kind of like grab things and drag it, and it kind of like makes the landscape kind of flesh itself out, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. The creation tools are still very inaccessible.
Okay.
I mean, you're not gonna. There's like this toolbar at the top of the screen, and then when you click on any one thing in the toolbar, it opens up like 5 other things in the toolbar, and then it's like mind numbing. It's like, I just want to put a circle somewhere, please.
Yeah.
And there's like hours of tutorial videos built
my
into the
gosh.
game that you can sit there and watch if you really want to get into the creation stuff. So there's a high barrier to entry, but they kind of smooth that out a little bit with tutorial videos.
Cool. Anything else?
Yesterday, I played through Hidden Agenda with some friends. Have any of you heard of Hidden Agenda?
No.
Sounds familiar.
Is it an object search game? Like a
It is not.
like
There's some stuff similar to that. So, the Until Dawn studio, people who made Until Dawn, they were commissioned to make a, Playlink Sony game. And this was like a year or two ago. Sony really pushed these Playlink games, which lets you use your phone as a controller.
Yeah. Yep.
So, you just like download an app and then you hook up your phone to, you just open the app and then it hooks up to the game while it's playing on your PlayStation.
Jackbox games. Yeah.
Yes, very similar to Jackbox. Very similar concept. And Hidden Agenda is like an Until Dawn-esque type game. So you're watching a story happen. You pick what happens. Like you pick what the character does. So there'll be decision points. It'll be like, do you want the person to say this or this? And then what everyone does, it's up to 6 players. We had like 8 people there. So 6 people were playing and then like 2 people were just like shouting what they thought. And you would like move your little dot into the box that you voted for, and then whoever had the majority would be the choice that ended up ruling out. And then there were like quick time events and stuff like that you had to move your dot into, and the people who won those would get like these wild cards. And what that let them do was, if there was a decision that everyone was trying to make, they could use their wild card, and then they would be the only one that made that decision, so they could kind of like override the whole thing for you. I liked that aspect of it. I liked how we were all, kind of collaboratively crafting this story as we went along. But the game itself wasn't very good. Until Dawn was like leaps and bounds better than it. And I've played through Until Dawn 3 times now, and it's been a blast each time. And Hidden Agenda wasn't up to snuff as far as that's concerned. It's more of a crime drama, not as supernatural. It's a crime mystery. And it doesn't give itself a lot of room to breathe. And it's pretty clear who the bad guy is pretty early on. Like the camera zooms into the bad guy's face. Like as soon as this character is like kind of acting strange, the camera like zooms into his face. It's like, I see you want me to think this guy's creepy now, because I see that he's probably the bad guy now. And yeah, he's the bad guy. And there's some like technical hitches where you can choose different options, and the story goes different ways, but there's like conversations that are happening, and then you'll see like a cut, and then someone's head will be like in a different location, and then it'll continue the dialogue, because clearly they had something in there in case you made a certain decision, but you didn't make that decision, so they're just going to cut to the next part. And so that kind of made it feel less polished overall, and Until Dawn didn't suffer from that as significantly. So there's some issues with it. But if you got a group of 6 friends together, you can make anything fun.
Yeah, especially when there's some adult beverages involved, right, Christian?
Exactly. I like those.
That's cool. I mean, is it kind of cheeseball? I mean, because like Until Dawn was kind of cheeseball-y, wasn't it?
Yeah, Until Dawn was very self-aware. This, not as much. I mean, the funniest part was like the weird faces people make, because the tech obviously isn't, photorealistic yet. So people are like their teeth are sitting out all the time, and then their like necks are like bending in weird ways.
Okay, so I gotta. Their teeth are sitting out.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I can
So
imagine.
like their faces are like so stretched out, and then like people's mouths are always open, and
Like
their
this.
teeth are like showing all the time.
Like this, Blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kinda
thank
like
you.
that.
That clears it right up.
Like they're always
Yeah.
going.
All right. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
I hope that gives you.
Yes, I'm glad I
You know-
asked.
You know,
Okay.
the image
good.
that I had, and I mean, I finally was able to stop, but I just imagine you guys sitting around playing one of those find the items,
Yeah.
those hidden items games. Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious! It's right there. It's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, there was some of that. Yeah, so there was sequences where you would have to put your pointer on a clue. Like it would show the screen, and there would be like, you have 5 seconds to find all 3 clues, and then we would have to put our pointers on them. And then the 2 people who weren't playing are like, "What are you doing? It's right there." It'd be like, "Okay, I got it."
Thanks. Nice. Anything else?
No, that's it
Okay.
for me.
So for myself, I've been playing a game that I'm reviewing called Gallic Z. I think it's called The Void. I think that's the subtitle to that game. So there was a Gallic Z game that came out maybe 6 months ago now. That was on the Switch. It was a mobile game that came to the Switch, and it's a free to play game, and it does have microtransactions, but like loot crates and stuff like that. But I never bought any loot crates on the game, even though I felt bad because I played the game a lot and I felt like I should spend some money on it. But I never felt like I had to, and I really liked the game a lot, and it was great, and it was a little grindy, but I mentioned this before, I'll mention again, I don't mind grinding in a game, so like to me it was really good. And then I saw this game come out, and I asked for their review code, and they sent it to me, and I've been playing it, and I've been enjoying it, but I will say it's way harder than the other game. Like, this one is not a free-to-play game. There's no microtransactions, and it is straight up, like, kick your butt type game. I mean, it's really hard. But I'm enjoying it so far, so I don't want to give too much up on it because I'm going to review it. So, and I'll save more of it when we talk about it when I give my final review. But I've been enjoying the game. It's fun. It's if you were a fan of the first one, you'll like this one. It just FYI, it's way harder. So, so I've been playing that, and then I was streaming the other night. What was that game called? Letter something. Letter Quest. Yeah. So I streamed that, and that was fun. Had a bunch of people on the stream watching that, and so this game I thought was going to be a kids game, and first of all, playing with
I'm remembering some of the
yeah,
words.
exactly. Playing with you guys, it's not a kids game. First of all, I couldn't believe some of the words they allowed us to enter in there. But then the other thing was like words like violation, and I was like, oh, like, and then they give you the definition every word. So if you've ever played this game before, the game is like it's like it's an RPG, yeah. So you're like this Grim Reaper type character, and then you attack monsters by using different words, and like the bigger words you use, the more attacks or the better attack you have and stuff, and you can like upgrade your character and stuff like that. So, but one of the words I used was violation, and then they give you the definition of every word you use. And if I were to write this game, the word violation would have been like a sporting violation, like somebody did something that was against the rules or something. But instead, it was violation is when a woman gets sexually attacked by another man. Like, what? They put what? That was the definition you went with? I mean, it is a definition of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I was like, it was really dark. And then, then some of the words that the peanut gallery was suggesting to me were not kid appropriate for sure. So.
There is a kid-appropriate version of this game. It's called Bookworm
That's
Adventures.
True. I have that game too on my 3DS, and that is you are absolutely right. That's what I was expecting it to be.
I played the crap out of that game when I was growing up, man.
Played the crap out of that game when I was an adult. So, yeah, no, it was a fun game. And then I did stream some Trials Rising as well. So now I'm past all the easy tracks, and now I'm on the medium tracks.
Oh boy.
I'm still enjoying it though, but it was fun. So been streaming that, and then the game that I picked up that Mike was gonna wait for. So Mike picked up the Nintendo Labo VR, and I was kind of
Can't even say that with a straight face.
And I was giving him a hard time about
You
it.
both have kids. What's the big deal?
Well, first of all, kids can't play this. Well, your kid probably can, Mike, but Ellie probably can, but Oliver cannot, because you have to be like age 7 or older to play this, because it'll ruin your eyes forever. Yeah. You'll be cross-eyed if you put this on.
Really?
I mean, I don't know if that's there's a warning.
They give that warning.
What's the magical difference that happens between 6 and 7?
I don't know. But it says, like, don't let kids under the age of 7 play this game. I don't know why. But I feel like they give that warning for everything, though. Like, don't let your kids play the Switch.
They do.
Or 3DS, actually, had that same warning, right?
Yeah, they gave that warning on the 3DS.
So, so Mike picked it up, and he said, it's not that bad. It's...
I said it's better than you would think.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So then one of our friends brought it in at work, and I got to play with it. And by this time, I already had a pre-order at Best Buy. But we were all passing around this piece of cardboard box they put on your head at work at lunch. So I bought it. It's okay. I mean, yeah. I mean,
wait till you put the blaster together. The blaster is really what sold it for me. Like, do it the actual headset, the actual the cardboard face piece thing it's not bad. It's had its moments. Like I said to you, it's similar to like cell phone VR. Yeah. It's not amazing, but it's a pretty cool effect. Yeah. But the blaster is the one that I had the most fun with, and it's killing me that they did not make a Duck Hunt VR game using the blaster.
You would think that would have been like a no-brainer. You know, the other game that I was thinking of, because you didn't play this one, but that one where you're going through the levels, the little Jumpman guy. They should make a Donkey Kong one, because there was like these balls. I mean, it was basically Donkey Kong, where these balls were coming down. You need to jump over the balls when you get to the top of the level. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Donkey Kong. They could totally make a VR Donkey Kong game easily. Well, not easily, but I'm just saying, like, that's something they could do. And I would totally buy that game. I'm wondering at what point though we're gonna see some mobile VR games come to the Switch now because of this thing. I don't know, or if we're gonna see like some company come up with something better than the cardboard box that Nintendo has. Like, oh, you want a real headset? Here you go. You can have this,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's better than I expected.
That's a lot of it's.
I know.
You had to take several run-ups at that sentence.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's better than I expected for sure. So, yeah. But I've been enjoying it.
It's worth $40.
It's worth the $40. Yeah, I would say that. So,
wow, you can get a lot of things for $40.
You could.
Yeah.
You get 2 Cupheads.
You could.
Yeah.
Cuphead and a Hollow Knight.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow, look at.
I don't think I could beat that with some cardboard.
I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest.
You put it up. You could hold this piece of cardboard to your head. This is pretty awesome. So.
That is the downside, though, that it doesn't have the actual strap.
There's no strap.
Like, I'm gonna have to go to Five Below and get like a $3 virtual reality cell phone thing and just bash it to bits so I could take the head strap and mod my Labo with the.
Yeah, Christian, you were saying that some people were putting like straps behind the console, right? Like building some kind of straps of some sort, right?
Yeah. Some people just like cut out their. Well, back in the day with Google Cardboard, people would like cut out their underwear waistbands and then just strap that around. Good enough.
Does it have to be your underwear waistband?
Probably not, but
If you want to use someone else's underwear waistband, that's on you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the perspective.
But yeah, I mean, it's Yeah, it's sitting on my shelf, just looking at me right now, saying, "Are you gonna play me again?" I'm like, probably. Yeah, I'll play it again, but I do want to build the blaster. That's the next thing I need to do. But that's the
Yeah.
thing. I'll admit. I'll just make this quick. But I just I don't like the fact that I have to build this. Like that's kind of. I mean, I know that's part of the. Yeah.
Really? I was the
Oh, see,
opposite.
yeah.
I enjoyed putting. Well, we did it
Yeah,
as a
see.
family, so I enjoyed doing that whole thing together. It was enjoyable. But then we also enjoy doing Legos as a family too.
Yeah, my kids.
So
We don't do things like that. We don't do things as a family. Like no,
we
yeah.
hate each other.
No,
Jeez.
I mean, you know how it would be at my house? Like, hey, let's put this together, and my son would be like, "I'm gonna take this and run away with it," and like it'd be crazy. Like,
Yeah.
but he's 4, so he's not supposed to be playing with it
Yeah.
anyway. So, no, Ellie and I
True.
could probably build it, but yeah, Oliver, I think he would not understand what to do. So, but he's 4,
Mhm.
so that's excusable, I guess. So. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. So let's take a break here, and then when we come back, actually, we'll take a break, and then we're going to go into I have an interview with Corey from Underbite Games here coming up, so you'll hear that. And then after that short interview, then we'll come back to our hot topic where we talk about what the announcements being made with game consoles. We'll talk about the biggest winners and losers and why. So stay tuned for that. And welcome back to GamerHeads. This week, I have a very special guest. We have Corey from Underbite Games, creators behind Super Dungeon Tactics and the upcoming game Sentinels of Freedom. Corey, you are a 2-time guest on our show, so welcome back to our show.
Thank you so much.
So I wanted to have you come back because I'm super excited about this next game, and I want to talk about Sentinels of Freedom. So Sentinel of Freedom gets its roots from the card game Sentinels of the Multi-Universe and the Sentinel comic books, and then what I've seen of a future RPG tabletop game then too. So I had my first question is, how did this project about the game come about? Were you approached about making the game, or did you approach the creators?
We actually got a hold of them. We're friends with them, so we're also most of us here are pretty avid board gamers.
Nice.
And so it was a nice connection. We really liked how Super Dungeon Tactics kind of came about and working with some existing IP, but doing some fun things with it. We like that design space. And so we approached Adam and Christopher over at Greater Than Games, and it was good timing because they were actually also thinking about how cool it'd be to see their characters alive on screen, than instead of just taking an existing board game and making it digital, but actually kind of reinventing how that works. And so we got to talking and thought it was a great opportunity for both of us.
Nice. Yeah, in Super Dungeon Tactics too, that came from a board game as well, right? So that kind of ties into like, I guess the premise behind a lot of the games that you make. Like, I love the fact that you take, a board game and you make it into a digital version of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, one thing we try and do, we do with Super Dungeon, but even more so, I think, with Sentinels, is we spend actually a lot of time playing the games because they're great games, and trying to figure out what was it that, kind of the essence of it, that made it feel interesting and challenging. And one of the things that came out of that was that you have a lot of power and a lot of abilities, but you don't always have access to everything all at once. A lot of games you can kind of just spam all your abilities, and in the card game you kind of have to limit that by what you have access to. And so that was one of the key elements that we brought in to the game, is the ability to I guess kind of limit in a way what you have access to and kind of focus you on certain tasks or themes for your character.
Nice. That's awesome. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the game itself and the turn-based RPG. So can you tell us a little bit about like what kind of missions there's going to be? And I know that you'll be leading a team of heroes. Like, how large can the team be? And then what kind of characters can you play in the game?
Yeah, so you get to it's going to start off kind of interesting in that your hero, the one you make, you actually don't start with, which is kind of an interesting twist. I have yet to see that happen in the game. But
Yeah.
what we wanted to do was give you a feel for the game using some existing heroes, and so that way when you go to make your hero, you kind of have some ideas of what do I want to do with this character. And so it's not a long ways into it, but it's a little way, you get a few missions under your belt, or a few encounters, we'll call them. So you can kind of get a feel for how the game plays, and then you get to kind of build your hero as you come in as this kind of unknown hero that's kind of been, in the shadows. And
Nice.
so that's kind of a cool way to, enter the game. And then you play a little bit with your hero, and then when you go back to your plaza, your kind of base, you'll be able to kind of verify that that's the hero you want. You can also make some
Nice.
changes there if you find that you want to tweak it a little bit before you continue.
Nice. In some of the characters that you can play, so you can play some of the characters from the Sentinel comics, right? Like Wrath and Legacy and Tempest. Can you play all these characters?
There's not all of them, but
Okay.
we've got 13 heroes in the game,
Okay.
plus your character, and then you'll also have the opportunity to make a couple more custom heroes that kind of come on board.
Nice.
Because part of the theme of the RPG is that you get to make your own character in that, and so this is kind of the new age of Sentinels, where you as a player are taking part in this universe. You're helping create the future of the universe in a sense. So the game is intended to kind of have that essence as well.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah.
And that's actually one of the things that really intrigued me about the game too, that you can create your own heroes. So what kind of customizations do you have when creating your heroes? And talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So the most obvious is being able to adjust your costume. We're really proud of what we've got so far as an indie studio. We didn't go full MMO with it, where you can do everything under the sun, but we've got a lot of different options, some different themes, and you can change primary, secondary, accent colors, skin tone, hair, all that stuff. And so we're really excited about what we were able to come up with as far as that system goes. And then you'll also, one of the biggest choices you'll make is your archetypes.
Okay.
And so we've got 5 different archetypes in the game, but you can also choose to pick, do I want just one archetype, or do I want to kind of have a hybrid?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, and it's in our game, we have a unique aspect of the game that's called stances.
Yeah.
And stances are like a theme that characters can have. So, like, let's say an easy one is like Wraith. She has like stealth and maybe hand-to-hand combat. All of her abilities in those themes are going to be focused around that type of theme. So if she's in stealth, she's not able to do the same thing she can do when she's in hand-to-hand combat.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the archetypes with each archetype has 3 themes that go along with it. And then there's a total of 9 abilities within each of those themes.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's tremendous amount of abilities. And what's cool with that is if you focus on one ability, so let's say I choose Brawler, and that's one of the archetypes, and I say I want to be, the Brawler type, you get access to all 3 themes, so you're kind of maximizing that archetype out. But if you choose Brawler, say with Summoner, you're going to get 2 of the themes from Brawler and 1 of the themes from Summoner. And so you kind of mix and match your capabilities as a hero.
That's cool. That's really awesome. So you can really customize and really make a unique character this way.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we've got you pick your animation or weapon type, so they kind of go hand in hand. So if you could go, bare-fisted, I could go shooting stuff out of my hands. I can go with swords or, shotgun or whatever I want to do.
Yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
you choose your visual effects, your colors, your voice, power source, backstory, and personality. So,
Nice.
and all those things are going to contribute to your character.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then one thing that I really liked about it too is I'm a huge like tabletop RPG guy, so I played a lot of Marvel RPG when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really liked about that too is you can talk about how your powers came to be, or you could select how your powers came to be. Like you can either be like your powers are based on technology, or like you're exposed to different things. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
I love the background and how much you can actually, I mean, what I've seen so far, what you can all do with the background of your character. That's awesome.
Yeah, and those all contribute. But again, the key is the archetypes. That's definitely going to be the biggest factor in how you play the game. But the other ones all kind of meld in and tweak your character to make it even more unique for you.
Nice. And in the game then, so you have the main mission, but then there's also side missions too, aren't there?
Yes. There's different little side missions you'll go on. One of the themes in the game is that crime is kind of on the rise, which is kind of a typical thing to happen in a superhero game. But there's some interesting reasons why that is. That's a little bit different. And so as you're kind of going through that main story, there'll also be some opportunities to kind of take on some extra things that are kind of popping up and give you some maybe access to new characters or new things through those side missions.
That's nice. And then so some of the things like I've seen where you can get like alternate suits and such. Would you be able to use those suits then with the characters that you create then too?
Not with typically the suits and things that you're going to get are going to be actually for the known heroes.
Okay.
It's interesting because the known heroes are they're on par with your character. So your character is just a part of that universe, but he's not necessarily, or she is not necessarily, the be all end all.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this story was written by the creators of the Sentinels comics too, right?
Yeah, that's something we're really excited about. We worked together to kind of they gave us an outline and we came back with kind of ideas for missions and that kind of stuff. So
Nice.
the mission variety is pretty huge. Everything from full out brawls to stealth to we actually have some pseudo tower defense kind of feeling missions even.
Oh, that's awesome.
But then we took those missions and wrote all that stuff up with our ideas for some objectives and environments and things like that. And then they wrote the story. So they had an idea in the beginning with it, took our missions, and then kind of melded everything together. So it's been a really fun part of it. They also wrote the lines for the characters as well. So one thing we're really excited about is all the heroes and major villains and even sub-villains are going to have a voice. So
oh wow.
It was a major step for us to have all these clips done and working with a great company. We did all the casting and we've got some return favorites from Sentinels of the Multiverse card game.
Nice.
Digital.
Nice.
A couple of the favorites from there are back. And so that's just one of those things that when you start hearing characters talk and they've got unique lines and that kind of thing, you feel a different level of connection with those characters. And so that's something we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it really brings it to life too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. What do you think one thing that fans of comic books will really enjoy about this game?
One thing.
Or many. I don't care.
Okay. Just a couple of notes that came to mind is, we really tried to make the missions be a part of the story. So it isn't like, oh, there's a story happening, then I'm going to go fight bad guys and go back and listen to the story. we wanted the missions to actually be a part of that. So your objectives and the characters you're facing, the things that are going on, we wanted to feel like it's just an extension of the story as opposed to it being, fight and read.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I love is, we've got some. I think we don't want to let people know all of the characters, but we have some really fun characters and also some interesting twists in the story. I think people are going to be expecting something and then have it, kind of turn on its head. And then some of the characters, some of them, we can say honestly that have never existed before, that are part of, the canon of Sentinels, which is really exciting. We got to introduce some new things. But also just some of the characters that are out there are just going to, I think, make it feel like it's fun. It's not 100% like heavy, as I think superheroes should be, both fun and entertaining.
Yeah. Well, especially with like a lot of the Marvel movies that are coming out right now, right? A lot of them are very funny and such. So that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. And what systems and when are you targeting for release of this game?
The target is August.
Okay.
And we'll be on PC, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. Those are all approved. We'll probably be leading with PC and Switch, and as of right now, PlayStation and Xbox will be shortly after.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited about this game. I know we talked about it a little bit when we talked about Super Dungeon Tactics, and I said I have to get you back on the show to talk about this game. So,
yeah, appreciate it.
Really excited. So, thank you again, Corey, for joining us and talking about the game. And how can people follow you and get some updates about the game?
Yeah, at Sentinels of Freedom game.com is there's a newsletter at the bottom. We're going to be combining actually all of our newsletters into one, so we have just a company, here's what's coming, so that way we can kind of join that community. So that'll be coming out probably weekly with new stuff as we go in. We've got a marketing firm we're working with to kind of help out with that, so we can keep our heads down and just keep working. And really excited about some of the things they're doing, where we're going to be picking a theme. So I think the first two are, one of them's focusing on Bunker as a character, and the other is he's one of the known heroes. And then the other is just more information about that kind of analog to digital switch. Like what did we look at? How did we make the game? Like we actually made a physical prototype of this game and actually played it for quite some time before we even touched code.
Wow.
So we're going to be talking about that and that process, which was incredibly fun.
Wow.
And really moved us along a lot faster than, kind of jumping in over our head right in the beginning.
Nice. Cool. Well, I'm very excited about the game. Thank you again, Corey, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
And welcome back to GamerHeads. Before we get into the hot topic, actually, Blue, you mentioned one other thing while we were on break.
Yes, because my brain always works when it's supposed to. I realized that there was a piece of news that we didn't discuss earlier, which was how this week, was it Wednesday or was it Thursday, that the DLC for Smash Brothers that has the Joker in it, that was released. And it basically broke the eShop.
Yeah, I remember that. That's crazy.
Like, it was completely down. Nobody could access it.
Jeez.
Yeah, and part of that, well, because didn't the Switch have like a new upgrade, and then all of a sudden the 3.0 for Smash came out then too, and it was like, whoa, like it was crazy. Like, because the upgrade for the Switch actually was a pretty big upgrade. It was a pretty important upgrade. But then, then this happened, and then everybody talked about that. So,
yeah, and Nintendo was putting out releases saying, "Sorry, just give us a minute. We're working on it."
Yeah.
And part of that upgrade to the 3.0 not only did have Joker, but also you can make levels now too. And
Oh, yep, that's true.
Yeah,
You can
stage
create
builder.
levels, and everybody's
Yep.
been posting pictures
Yep.
of all the inappropriate levels.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I got a friend who made a couple inappropriate
Oh.
ones. I tell you what.
Christian, we weren't going to talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, no, I'm just kidding. It wasn't me. Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, that's a good item. I'm glad we talked about that, because like that was crazy, and now there's Persona coming to the Switch as well. So
That was announced.
no, I don't know. I mean, I think that's rumors yet,
Oh.
but still, it's gonna happen.
Fake news.
Yes, fake news.
Yep.
I would not survive in Blue's world for sure. So
No. He would be rotting in a dungeon somewhere.
God.
Oh no.
In my
Guantanamo Bay.
yeah, my dystopia, we'd rock it old school
Yeah.
with like medieval
Wow.
dungeons.
Wow. Well, as long as you have Bud Light, I think I'll be okay. So.
No, well, is really?
Oh, that's the commercials from the Bud Light commercial.
Well, no, I know, but like, I would consider being made to drink Bud Light a punishment.
No, yeah, I agree. Bud Light is not.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
All right, so let's go on to our hot topic then. So with the announcements being made with the gaming consoles, so we have some specs with PlayStation 5, Switch. Nintendo is coming out with a more advanced or pro version, I guess, and then also a mini version. And then Xbox was like, we're having a diskless system, and crickets from the crowd. Actually,
no,
yeah,
there were
that's
not
right,
crickets.
there was no crickets.
Yeah, there were some pretty loud
Yeah.
crickets.
So I guess I want to talk through some of that. What do you guys think? Who do you think? Who do you think the winners and losers are? And where do we go from here?
Well, so did we actually get confirmation of the next Switches?
No,
or we're
I mean-
still just operating off those supposed
So the
leaks.
outside of the fact that Nintendo said that's going to happen, I mean, we don't really know much about it, except for the fact that I did hear that the mini or the cheaper version or whatever is still going to have a docked version. Nintendo still said there's going to be a docked version of it. So
I see.
other than that, we don't really know too much. It would be interesting if the mini version would be just a cartless version. I don't know, maybe.
Like a digital
yeah,
only?
a digital
Yeah,
only.
digital only.
Oh.
A sad
Yeah,
version?
Yeah. But yeah, we don't know much about that except for the fact that Nintendo is coming out with, 2 new systems, and I use that
Mm-hmm.
loosely. The same with Xbox. I mean, they're not really coming out with a new system. It's just it's a new version of their console, I guess, right? So
Yeah. This is what surprises me about the Microsoft situation is that we all know Nintendo is normally pretty good at keeping their cards pretty close to their chest. Sony maybe a little bit, but they do get some leaks. Microsoft, that's all they do is accidentally leak their
Yeah.
information. I don't think there's been a single Microsoft announcement that I haven't heard about beforehand. So while we're all going crazy over the sad Xbox, we're also getting another announcement at E3 supposedly about the next gen Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, this was such a great week because they announced the PS5 and how it's going to be super powerful and 8K capable and backwards compatible, at least to PS4.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, right? And then Xbox says, oh yeah, we have a diskless
Yeah.
system. It's called the One Sad. And somebody at Microsoft, I don't know how they missed that, but they screwed up.
Yep.
And I think they really shot themselves in the foot when they did this announcement, because in the Xbox Direct or whatever their show is called, they had all this big skit preceding it, like, we just didn't think it could be done, and we poured all these experts into it, and all these man hours, and we just didn't think we could be done. And then the lady runs up with the the laptop and says, "Oh, I figured it out. You just delete the disk drive." And everybody's like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, just delete it." And they're like, "Oh my God, you just delete the disk drive." And then they announce it, and it's $250.
Yeah, $250.
That's what
250.
killed it for me. Oh man.
And
That
so, like, they did this skit where it's like a really stupid change, and then still expect everybody to think it's cool when they basically just admitted it's a stupid change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then they did that, and then everybody's still buzzing at about the PS5, and then they come out and say, "Oh yeah, the next Xbox is going to be way more powerful than the PS5."
It's going to be the Xbox One XX.
Triple X.
Yeah.
It was just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that they really, like you said, shot themselves in the foot with that price point. I mean, that was like when you can buy
Yes.
a regular Xbox
Yes.
One S for even less than that at several points throughout the
Yes.
year.
Mhm.
Why on earth would you spend more money for a system that has less
Yeah.
functionality?
I think the price is interesting because the day that the discless, geez, that is
Yeah.
hard to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Roger. The discless Xbox One was announced. I saw a digital retailer selling the original Xbox One S for $175, brand new, and it came with Battlefield
Oh my
5, so it
gosh.
came with a game. So
That's $50 right there, the game.
that's sale price, and retail price for an original Xbox One S is sitting at $300. So this discless system is $50 less than retail. So hopefully we'll begin to see sales that plummet that price down to like 125 or 100. That would be wonderful, and that would make way more sense because you are like saving $75 by not getting a disc drive. And not only that, this discless version comes with I think it's like 3 months of Game Pass, so you get like an instant access to an extensive library of games for 3 months, backwards compatibility included, and you also get like digital copies of like 2 games, one of them being Sea of Thieves and another one being I forgot, but
Minecraft and
Minecraft, yeah.
Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah, that's it, those 3. Yeah. So I mean, there's a value proposition to be had there, especially at a sale price, but you would be a fool to spend $250 on a discless Xbox.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I've got a regular One S that I don't ever use. I'll sell it to somebody for $150.
Yeah.
then you can. It's barely used, and it has the disc drive.
No, you sell it for
Ooh.
$300 or $275 because Xbox is selling it for $250. So without the disc, you
Is that how it
get
works?
a good deal at $275. You get it with the disc.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, if somebody wants to give me $275 for it, I'll take it. But I'll also still give it to you for $150. Message me on Twitter.
Blue, the
Yeah,
expert negotiator.
Yep.
You worked in retail
I'm good
before.
at this.
But yeah, that's so weird. That is so bizarre. Like, it seems so like deaf. Like, what were they thinking? That doesn't make any sense.
It's pretty crazy. I put out a tweet asking people what they thought about it, and holy cow. There are some feelings here. Most people were just like, absolutely not. Like, they just sent one-word answers like no or no way or something like that. Or they sent gifs like of just laughing hysterically or like, sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit, or, stuff like that. There was probably like 3 people total out of, how many answers did I get? I got 197 answers. And of that, probably 3 people said they were interested in buying one. Mm-hmm. Like, one person said, oh yeah, I'll get this for my kids because they always ruin discs.
Oh.
I was like, all right, fair enough. But yeah, overwhelmingly, people are like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's just hope, and then that's the thing is that I was saying Microsoft did not, out of all three companies, Microsoft has stumbled the most this generation. And usually after a company stumbles this much, the next system that they release, they learn their lessons and they come out with a better product. With this Xbox digital version, it doesn't seem like Microsoft is learning. So that kind of makes me worry a little bit about their next gen system. Like, have they learned from their mistakes with the Xbox One?
Yeah. It would be one thing if this was like the Xbox One X without a disc, and it was like that powerful.
Oh yeah, if it was an X, yeah,
Right?
that would be different altogether.
Right. And like $250 would have been a really good deal for that. But yeah, it's so bizarre. But on the flip side, now we're looking at PlayStation, and they, like you mentioned, how it's backwards compatibility, and it's going to have a solid state hard drive, right?
Solid state drive, yeah.
I like that idea. That was a really good idea.
And ray tracing, right? They mentioned that.
Ray tracing, yeah.
And then the price tag for that though is going to be like over $500 probably.
Yeah.
So
I might have to wait on that one.
Like.
Yeah, well, it usually doesn't work out if you buy the consoles right when they release anyway. You need to give it like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I mean, it sounds like an awesome... It's interesting because Xbox, when they came out with the X, they're like, this is the greatest gaming console of all time. The most powerful gaming console. And PlayStation's like, hold my beer. Exactly. And now, like, what they're coming out with, like, is gonna be pretty amazing. Like, from a console standpoint, that is a really amazing console. It's just, yeah. I mean, price wise, I'm gonna have a hard time justifying buying that, even at $400.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing, though. If they made it backwards compatible all the way back to PlayStation 1, I mean, they can name their price, and I'll pay it.
That's funny.
So, and then, like I said, Nintendo, like, we don't know much about what their consoles are going to be. I did hear rumors that the mini or whatever this I don't want to call it lower version, but this like lesser version, I guess, or this cheaper version.
That's much better.
Yeah, I know,
That's right. That's so
there you
much
go.
worse.
Switch Lite. Christian's got it.
Switch Lite is coming out at the end of this year, I think. I don't know if they talked about the Pro version or whatever they're going to be calling that, the Plus version, if that's coming out at the end of this year too. But so we don't know much about what that all has to offer. I think the biggest thing that I mentioned this before and I'll mention it again. I think the biggest worry for me is that if they come out with a Nintendo Plus, Switch Plus or Pro version, and then only certain games can work on that Switch Plus version, that would turn me off a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
what if they're EA games,
No,
Roger,
I
like
don't
the new
care.
Star Wars Fallen Jedi Order?
No way.
I feel like unlike Microsoft, that Nintendo tends to learn from its mistakes, though.
Yeah. But did they think that's a mistake, though? I'm not sure if they know it's a mistake, what they did with the 3DS.
Well, if they sold as many copies of the games as they wanted, then it's not a mistake because people didn't care. But if it bothered people and so they didn't sell as many, then they'll be aware of it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Mike, were you going to say something?
Okay. No.
So, what do you guys think? Who do you think? I think we all know who we feel the biggest loser is, right? It's Xbox.
Yeah. But I at the same time, I'm also the most optimistic about the Xbox for this year's E3 because that seems to be where we're going to get the most news out of is Microsoft.
Yeah. Well, considering that PlayStation said they're not going to be at E3, right? Sony said we're not going to be there. Nintendo does their own Treehouse thing. So really, this Microsoft is sitting pretty.
Right. They've got the biggest. They've got this teed up for them. And I'm still angry that I haven't seen anything about Battletoads other than the title screen.
Yeah.
So
that is true.
Yeah, they've got it teed up, and I think if they don't hit it out of the park, it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
So, regards to the biggest winner, who do you think the biggest winner is then? So far. And again, this is really early,
Well,
right? So,
Yeah, I'm gonna say Sony at this point because everybody went crazy when Sony announced, when that was it Wired that released that
Yeah.
article, and everybody seemed to be on board with all these the specs for the PS5 so far.
Well, I see a lot of people mocking the whole 8K thing.
Oh,
Yes, that is a
yeah.
very stupid decision. I feel very strongly about that.
That's
4K
what I'm saying.
was a mistake.
People
I do not like that.
people who disagree with it strongly.
Yeah. I mean, I think making the PlayStation 4 Pro a 4K machine, what I think was a huge mistake. They could have used that hardware in order to push higher frame rates and higher fidelity visuals at 1080p, which is pretty much what the PlayStation 4 Pro is anyways. I mean, it'll play 1080p games at 60 frames, Kingdom Hearts 3 being an excellent example. And to just push pixel count higher when hardware isn't there yet, you can spend $1,200 on a graphics card that will not play games at 4K at a consistent 60 frames per second. And that is like, let's not worry about 4K. You have to be within like a certain viewing distance of your television to even realize it's in 4K versus 1080p. Let's not go to 8K. Let's sit here for a bit. Let's make 60 frames per second the standard. Gosh dang it.
Do you think that they are planning for a machine that is going to be good for a long time in the future, though?
Maybe. But I feel like 8K isn't my future. It's not going to be my future. I mean, 4K, it's like not even my present. Like I have a 4K TV and I'll play like 2 4K games on it, and then everything else streams at like 720 and 1080p. So 4K isn't even our present yet. 1080p looks great as it is. So I just want to slow down. Give me 1080p pixels. That's all I need. That's all I need. Push them out at a higher frame rate.
Do you think though that because I feel like 4K and I'm sure there are TVs that do 8K. I think I may have seen one, but maybe I haven't. But do you think that those are like mainly buzzwords right now? I mean, like it's like 4K, 8K. Like those are people that can like non-gamers like you can like latch on to like understanding more of the 4K versus like the 60 frames per second and blah blah blah. You know, does that make sense?
Yes, that's why I hate it so much, because everyone's like, all right, I got a 4K TV, bud. You know, I got a 4K TV. How about you? And it's like, I got a 1080p TV, but it runs everything. Like, I'm pretty sure you are not watching 4K content on that 4K TV. There's like a 10% chance. And then the people, they like touting that they have a 4K TV because it says 4K on the box. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't change their viewing experience. Whereas things like 60 frames per second, that's a change you can feel. And when you're looking at it, it looks significantly better, as well as HDR, that those high dynamic range colors look fantastic and pop in way more significantly than more pixels do.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's all about, you know, marketing at this point, kind of.
Yeah. Just burn all the 4K TVs.
Very
I don't
passionate about the 4K.
Yeah. I have a 43-inch TV, and for me to tell the difference between 1080p and 4K, I have to sit within like 4 feet of the TV. Because that's how human eyes work.
Well,
it doesn't make sense.
That's how hungry eyes work.
Too. Don't worry about the K.
And thank you for coming to his TED Talk.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts? No, don't be sorry. Any last thoughts?
No.
Yeah, we'll have more to discuss after E3 and at whatever point Nintendo releases actual information regarding their next Switch systems.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to judge where the big three are truly sitting in relationship to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, Xbox is losing and PlayStation 5 is winning.
Yeah. All right. Well, listeners, what are your thoughts? You can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can send us an email at info@GamerHeadsPodcast.com. You can go to our website at GamerHeadsPodcast.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, and that's Facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast. Let us know what your thoughts are on the matter. All right, before we go then, let's go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. So we'll start with you, Christian. How can people get a hold of you?
Sure, you can get a hold of me on Twitter at Christian Cubza, or you can read my reviews at Push Square, New Game Network, and GamerHeadsPodcast.com.
Thanks. And Mike, how can people get a hold of you?
You could find me on Twitter at TC Throwers. You could also find the Controller Throwers podcast right here, GamerHeadsPodcast.com, and check us out at twitch.tv/TC Throwers.
Nice. And Blue, how can people get a hold of you?
You can almost always find me on Twitter. My handle is @WritersView, and it's spelled with a Y, so WRY. And then I also have a website, which is writersview.com.
Great. And listeners, as I mentioned, you can always follow us on our Facebook page or Twitter. Probably Twitter is the easiest way. It's GamerHeadsPC. You can send us an email at info@GamerHeadsPodcast, or go to our website at GamerHeadsPodcast.com. All right. Christian, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you,
And
Roger.
Mike, thank you for joining us.
Always
And
a pleasure.
Blue, thank you again for joining us.
You are welcome.
And listeners, thank you for spending your time with us. We really appreciate it. If you feel so inclined, do go out to our website, and there's a link there for iTunes where you can leave us a review. Also add the link to the iTunes in the show notes here. So go ahead and click on that and leave us a review. We always love to hear what you have to say about our show. So do give us feedback. All right, with that, Mike, what do you usually say at the end of Controller Thors? What do you always say?
Play some games, have some
There
fun.
you go. Play some games, have some fun.
You got to come up with your own.
I know,
thing, Roger.
Have some fun and play some games, people.
No.
All right. Well, I'll come up with something. Drive
Drive safe.
safely. Don't let the bed bugs bite. See you in the morning light. Play some games. See ya. Have some fun. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.